On this episode of That One Movie Podcast, we are going to be doing another retrospective, this time on the second half of SAW V through JIGSAW, 5, 6, 3D / the final chapter / 7, whatever you want to call that one, and then Jigsaw, which is the 8th installment. Of course, we did do Spiral a couple years ago on the podcast in our audio back catalog, so check that out if you have not heard that review yet. Otherwise, we will have reviewed all of Saw, including Saw X, next week. So that's the plan there. Jump down in the description to jump to those time codes. I don't know if that made sense. Look in the description for the time codes to jump right to that conversation if that's what you're looking for. Otherwise, we are going to be talking about Ahsoka episode 6, which is titled Far, Far Away. Get it, Holden? It's like
how the movies start. You
know? Like how the movies start. Yeah. And we are also going to be talking about the news from this week in the world of entertainment, including stories such as what, Holden?
Well, first off, looks like the writer's strike may be coming to an end, so we'll discuss that. There was apparently a Guillermo del Toro Star Wars movie being made that he kind of revealed some news about, so we'll talk about that. And then also Sicario 3 is apparently being made.
Oh, wow. There we go. So check out that conversation in TOMPS.
Yes.
All right, Holden. With that being said, I'm Jimmy Yuthi.
I'm Holden Sutter.
And it's time for Tom.
Tom. That One Movie Podcast. Tom. Jimmy, before we talk Saw, second half of Saw.
Yeah.
Let's do the Toms.
The Toms.
The Toms. Toms is the rapid fire segment in which we rate the news of the week in the world of entertainment on a scale of 3 famous Toms, Brokaw, Bombadil, and Bergeron. Brokaw is the highest.
Yes.
Bergeron's I messed it up this time. Gosh darn it. I was
Bombadil's
watching you.
Bombadil's the lowest.
And Bergeron is somewhere in between.
Holden, I was gonna get it 100% right.
I know.
Time.
I was watching you. I was like impressed that you were getting it right. I wasn't even like thinking.
I threw you off by doing it correctly.
Yeah, you were doing so well.
It's that note that says "Don't F it up, Jimmy" at the top of our notes. That helped me out.
That's true. Anyway. First off, we have a couple of trailers. First, we have Dream Scenario.
It's
a new A24 movie.
New A24 movie.
Yes. Starring Nicolas Cage.
What did you think? Repeat that. Subvert the expectations.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Because it wouldn't have been funny the third time.
No.
Even though things
it's usually
generally
the time.
Are funnier in threes.
Yes. This is directed by, I don't have the name of the director in front of me, but I know it's directed a movie within the last couple of years called Sick of Myself that I've heard is very good. Haven't seen it myself yet. But what did you think of this trailer?
I thought it looks good. I like the concept of it. This guy who is Nick Cage in a bald cap.
Yeah.
Just appearing in everybody else's dreams. It's pretty funny. It's funny that it's Nick Cage.
Yeah.
It's a perfect role for him. It seems goofy. I like the crazy nature of it. It gives me a little bit of Everything Everywhere All at Once vibes. Kind of when I saw that trailer and I'm like, I like this concept a lot. I hope this is good.
Yeah.
This is giving me similar vibes. It would be amazing if it was up to that quality of Everything Everywhere All at Once. But even if it's half as good, I think this is warranting a Brokaw. I have no idea when it's coming out. Coming soon, I think it said in the trailer.
Yeah, it looks like it's being released November 10th, so we'll see that.
Wow, that's sooner than I would have imagined.
Yeah, I don't know if that's wide release or whatever, but hopefully we'll see it this year still.
I'm giving that a Brokaw, which is good.
Yeah, I'll give it a Brokaw as well. It looks very funny. I think it's just a very funny concept. Nick Cage looks like he's having a lot of fun in the role. I think the fact that, he's just appearing in people's dreams, and according to the trailer, it seems like most of the part he's just like there.
Yeah.
He's just kind of standing there. I think there's a lot of creativity you can do with how you present people's dreams and everything, and what those dreams actually contain. So yeah, I think there's quite a lot of potential here.
Can you be culpable for what your dream self does?
Yeah, probably. I don't know. Probably not unless he controls it.
Yeah, probably shouldn't be.
Yeah,
that's what I say.
That's my hot take right now. The director is Christopher Borgli. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, Brokaw from both of us.
Nice.
Then second trailer we have is the trailer for Percy Jackson and the Olympians on Disney Plus, coming at the very end of the year here. What do you think of this trailer?
I think it looks like the book.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's been since middle school, so that's been what, 12 years? No, more than that, 14 years probably
Quite
since
a
I
long
read
time,
these.
yeah.
Can't believe those are that old now.
I know.
But it looks faithful. I mean, they're kids. They're kids. Isn't he like 11 or
Yeah, something like that. So he looks the age. Camp Half-Blood looks good.
Yeah.
The monsters.
Lance Reddick as Zeus.
Yep.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. You get like the Minotaur at the end, just kind of in a silhouette, but looks kind of cool. But yeah, it looks like they're going to be, their country spanning road trip adventure that the book is, going to a lot of different locations. So hoping it's a lot more, faithful than the movie.
Yeah. Which was a horrible book to movie adaptation. Has to be the worst one, right?
It's up there. It's like obviously you can take liberties with the material like Harry Potter does, but like
The Shining.
Take the right liberties.
Don't
be
take the
bad.
right liberties.
Don't be bad.
Don't take something that was good and liked and turn it into something that was garbage.
Yeah, exactly.
Thing I didn't like about this trailer, that Riptide remix.
That was kind of cringy.
Atrocious.
Yeah, it was cringy, very on the nose, and also just not very good.
Riptide doesn't hype me up. They like tried to turn Riptide into an
epic song for this
Take
big
me down
fantasy.
To the Riptide.
I feel like there's better water related songs you could do.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I can't think of one off the top of my head, but it's probably something. Yeah, that is the weakest part, but that's just trailer music, so not really indicative of the quality of the show. So other than that, pretty good trailer, I think. So hopefully it's good.
I think it was a fine trailer, Bergeron.
Broke off from me.
There we go, Holden. Enough of this trailer talk. Let's talk about strikes because it's baseball season.
Yes. So this was like actually last night as of recording, but it looks like the WGA, the Writers Guild of America strike, is potentially coming to a close. They announced that they have come to a tentative agreement with the AMPTP, which I don't remember what that spells out. It's the producers group, whatever it is. But the WA just described it as an extraordinary deal. It's not 100% closed yet because guild members still need to vote on like ratifying it. And there may still be some language in the document that's further ironed out. And the details are not currently publicly available as to what it entails. But reportedly, it seems that like the very last thing they were working on together was like AI related kind of clauses and stuff.
Yeah. Well, they should just have AI work on those.
Yeah, they really should iron that out with AI.
Yeah.
What do you think of this?
Good. Strike's coming to an end for good things, right? Brokaw.
Yeah.
Yay. Let's make movies again.
Yeah, we get to see movies at least be written again. SAG-AFTRA is still on strike as far as we know with this because it is a different organization. But, at least one of the strikes is coming to an end and seems to be good for the workers. So, yeah.
Strike one, you're out of here.
Who?
You are.
Me? Oh, okay.
Leave.
I'm out.
You're gone.
When SAG-AFTRA's strike ends, that's strike two for me.
Strike two.
I don't know what's going to happen with a third strike.
I'm surprised you haven't gone on strike yet with this podcast.
Yeah, I don't know. With the Podcasters of America.
We should go on strike.
We really should. Don't get paid enough for this.
No, we don't.
Anyway, next up, Sicario 3 apparently was in the writing stages pre-strike. The series producers Basil Iwinick and Erica Lee said that they have a great idea for a new entry. They're just waiting to continue to be able to work on it. And they also emphasized how much they love Benicio del Toro's character in these movies.
Never did see Dia del Soldado.
Yes.
The second one.
Yeah. Second
Never
one,
saw it, Bergeron.
It was good. Obviously not as good as the first one that had Denis Villeneuve, directing. But both are fun. I'd see a second one. I'd see a third.
I'd see a
second one.
Second sequel. Is Josh Brolin in the second one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And I don't remember if either of them die, so I don't know if
Emily Blunt.
No, she's not. But yeah, it's a really kind of interesting concept for a series, and
It's a really kind of interesting concept.
really kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I'm selling it here.
You bet. Amazing.
Yeah, thanks. But the acting's really good in it too. I agree. Benicio del Toro is fantastic in the movie. So yeah, I'd give it a Brokaw. I'd see a third.
There you go. I gave it a Bergeron.
Sweet.
Which is the middle one. I
That is
don't
the
know if you
middle
knew that because we didn't do a great job explaining
Yeah.
these.
Yeah. Bombadil's the lowest.
Yeah. Bombadil, bad.
Bombadil bad.
Brokaw, good. Bergeron, somewhere in between.
Next up, apparently Guillermo del Toro was going to direct a Star Wars movie. Was this widely known? I didn't know this.
Maybe. I mean, everybody knows that he was going to do the Hobbit movies.
Yeah.
And they said, nope. They Linus and Lucy footballed him.
Yeah, they took it away from him, even though
And they
I
said,
would have loved
Peter,
to see that.
Peter Jackson, you do it. We'll ruin your life.
But Guillermo del Toro was apparently going to be directing a Star Wars movie about Jabba the Hutt. And it was going to be written by David S. Goyer, who
Batman Begins.
and
some other bad movies.
A lot of other movies. He did do the Blade movies, which a couple are.
He's done good and bad movies.
He has, yeah. Which now that I'm thinking about it, I guess Guillermo del Toro directed Blade 2. So, but the film was scrapped in the big Star Wars shakeup of like post Solo and post Rise of Skywalker when they're like, yeah, we're gonna focus on Disney Plus. So, yeah, what do you think? Would this be any
a
good?
scrapped Star Wars project. Can you imagine?
Yeah, another one.
I don't need a Jabba the Hutt movie, but Guillermo del Toro, cool. Bergeron. This is not like they're like create your dream Star Wars movie. It's not a Guillermo del Toro Jabba the Hutt movie, but that's not the last one on the list.
No. I mean, the Guillermo name itself makes me like interested in the concept, and I think him directing a Star Wars movie in general would be exciting. But yeah, Jabba the Hutt seems like a weird choice. But if that's the one he wanted to make, maybe it would have been good. I don't know. Happening regardless.
He could do a lot of whimsical things with Star Wars.
He could. Yeah, he's good at whimsy, dark whimsy.
Dark whimsy.
Yeah, Bergeron from me.
All right.
And then our final piece of news today is a TV show that I was not aware of before doing notes today, but it's The Curse. It's a new TV series created by Nathan Fielder and Benny Safdie.
Oh, interesting.
It's starring Fielder and Emma Stone, apparently. It seems like it's a scripted show, unlike his couple previous shows. But it follows a married couple that is supposedly cursed. We see how it affects their life and their home improvement show that they're trying to get off of the ground. It's a horror comedy series that will premiere on Showtime later this year.
So it's completely scripted.
That's what it seems like. I didn't see otherwise. It could be, maybe it's a little bit of both, but it seems to be at least mostly scripted.
Interesting. It'll be interesting to see Nathan Fielder, who did Nathan for You and the
Rehearsal.
Mm-hmm. See him do more scripted stuff since a lot of his stuff is like improv.
Mm-hmm.
And Emma Stone, obviously, that she's a great actress. Interesting to see that combo.
Yeah, that'll be weird.
And then Benny Safdie, of course, has made a name for himself.
And I think Benny Safdie is also in it as a character, but I didn't see who he's playing. But yeah,
he's the one guy who wants to make the hydrogen bomb in Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
He's the one politician in Licorice Pizza. He wrote Good Time, and what else have the Safdie brothers made?
Uncut Gems.
Uncut Gems.
Yeah.
So he's got the face. You would know him if you saw him.
Pretty iconic face.
I don't know the other Safdie brother.
I don't know. I wouldn't know him, but I'm not sure he's been in his even his own movies. I don't know. Maybe he's just more of a behind the scenes kind of guy.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I guess I'll give that a Brokaw.
Yeah,
Sure,
I don't know.
not?
It was I only bring it up. It's not like any new thing came out about it, but I just saw stuff about it. I was like, this sounds really interesting, and I like the people attached to it. So yeah, we'll see. I don't have Showtime, so maybe this will convince me to get a Showtime free trial and binge it all at once.
There you go. There we go. Yeah. So that is it for the Toms this week. Short Toms segment.
Yes, short Tom segment.
Get
but
them out of here.
We will be making up for that in a bit with our extensive reviews of specifically Ahsoka.
No.
Very extensive Ahsoka review today.
We'll make up for it with our SAW 5 through Jigsaw retrospective. But before we do that, Thrawn's back, baby.
Thrawn's back.
Thrawn's back. All right. Star Wars Episode 6, Thrawn's back.
Star Wars
Ahsoka
Episode
edition.
6, Return of the Jedi.
Yep. Long time ago.
Yes. All right. Ahsoka Episode 6. Return of the Jedi.
Return of Thrawn.
Yeah, Return of Thrawn.
The blue guy.
Far, Far Away is what it's actually called.
Far, Far Away.
Another example of an episode that everyone was freaking out about, and I'm like,
This is not a bad episode. I just am realizing that I just don't really care.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing beyond. I think this is, like we said, this is for people who like Rebels. I'm sure this is very good if you've seen Rebels. And like this clicks and everything, but it is nothing beyond that for me. Like I thought this show would, like the characters would be interesting enough that it would work for me without seeing that, but it is just not. And it's not like terrible. It's just not that compelling. And it's very slow paced. Like this is not a fast paced show. So if you're not 100% invested in it, it's very just like trudging along. What I will say is Balin Skull actor guy, I think Ray Stevenson, rest in peace. That guy is great. I think his really character is by far the most interesting character in this show right now.
I totally agree.
I'm interested in whatever he is doing. I think his dialogue is the best written. I think he is the best performance in the show. I just want to see him. Like I think all of his scenes are captivating.
And I don't think it's a coincidence that he's like one of the only original characters to the show too. Like I think he's one of the most interesting because everything we know about him is from this show. Right?
Maybe, yeah.
Like, so, but I totally agree. Like, I want to know his motivations right now seem to be kind of unclear. He has some ulterior motivation for being on this planet. Seems to want to kind of tear down an order. He sees this cycle of violence and war and kind of wants to stop it in some way.
That was great. When he's just like, when I was slightly more than your age, everything I knew burned. I watched everything I knew burn. I'm like, oh yeah, here we go. Good monologue.
Yeah.
He's like, the older you get, you look back in history and it all seems inevitable. And I'm like, heck yeah, it does, brother. And he's getting it. This guy took social studies. And then just like, you know, like Daenerys Targaryen in Game of Thrones is like, break the wheel. Like he wants to break the wheel and, you know, I got to crack a few eggs to make an omelet, sort of guy. And I'm like, heck yeah, man. Do what needs to be done for the greater good. That's some Dark Jedi stuff right there. I'm on board.
Yeah. So I'm really interested to see where exactly, like what he's trying to do with the planet. And I guess like his apprentice Shin and like initially when I started this show, I was willing to bet it was another case of the apprentice is just going to kill the master at some point. Like initially I was like, I thought that was just where it's going to go. We've seen that a few times in Star Wars now. It would have been kind of lame if they did that. Doesn't seem to be going that route. She doesn't seem to be fully on board with whatever he's doing, but she also just doesn't really understand too. She's clearly very young and whatnot. Yeah. So yeah, we'll see where they go. But easily the most interesting part of the show, I think
so. I still don't get her role in it yet. She seems just like there so he can have someone to say all these cool things to.
Yeah, that is a lot of it. I think it's also just so Sabine has someone to defeat at the end of the season.
That's true as well.
But yeah, I don't know. We'll see if she has her motivations, if she has more motivations other than just being an apprentice. I don't know.
Yeah. So Thrawn's just been chilling with some Night Sisters.
Yeah, just hanging out on this planet. Got a big old Star Destroyer.
Yeah.
Got a lot of stormtroopers covered in red tape.
Yeah. Got that one guy with that weird face.
Yeah, that was kind of a cool mask.
Enoch?
Did
they
say his name?
Something like that.
Oh, okay.
Enoch Knock, who's there? It's me, Enoch.
Yeah, that's a cool helmet design.
Unsettling.
Yeah. I do think like I can see like people that watch Rebels, Thrawn's introduction here seems really good for those people. Like for people who like are anticipating Thrawn, it's like it's a big grand entrance. Yeah, they probably love that.
I don't like his theme.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. It was like this weird synth thing that felt out of place.
I did not like it.
Yeah, we'll see. I wasn't sure if that was just an entrance theme or if that's going to be his theme in the show. I don't know. It was weird though. Didn't fit.
Good performance by, is it Lars Mikkelsen?
Lars Mikkelsen. Yeah, he seems great. He's wearing the blue makeup, seems to have the voice down pat.
Got the big baggy pants.
Yeah, big baggy pants.
Big baggy Nazi white pants.
I mean, he seems to, I can see why in universe he's kind of this intimidating, imperial guy that everyone fears and, wants to bring back to rule the empire and whatnot. So
he's heir to the empire.
Heir to the empire.
Yeah, Hu Yang. I always forget how to say his name.
The robot?
Yang. The robot guy tells a story at the beginning.
What's the story?
I don't remember. Ahsoka tells him the story.
Yeah, I don't remember what the story Ahsoka tells is.
I don't know. They're in the space whale, killing time in the space whale.
Yeah, they're just hanging, and that's the only time they're in the episode.
Yep,
they're just in the space whale. What else?
You got the hermit crab people.
Hermit crab people.
Crab people.
Crab people. Walk like crab. Talk like people.
Is that what it is? Walk like crab.
I think there's
like
also
people?
taste like crab. Walk like people. That's a cool alien design. Honestly, I think it looks pretty good. I'm like, it's unique. I like it quite a bit.
They were fun.
Yeah, little cute creatures.
Oh my gosh, Holden! Can you believe it? Ezra's alive.
Ezra's alive.
Wow.
He's sitting there. He's hanging.
Was
with the
it
hermit
worth
crabs.
it? Certainly not.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I didn't understand.
I want the body count just tallied up for Sabine.
Yeah,
these people are on your hands. You're up there with Clone Girl from Jurassic World, whatever that one, Fallen Kingdom.
Yeah, Clone Girl. Chris Pratt, Infinity War. It's a stupid mistake, like a stupid decision that doesn't make a lot of sense. But yeah, I didn't fully understand in this, like, how could Ezra go so far off the grid on this planet? Like, if they've been in exile for so long, wouldn't Thrawn just be pursuing him? I don't know. That seemed weird to me that he just lost him. Also, it didn't seem like Sabine went that far. Like, it just kind of seemed like she went a few miles away and Ezra's just chilling.
It's a planet. You would think
yeah,
needle in a haystack. Especially if they're disguised as rocks.
Yeah, right. I don't know. I mean, I guess, maybe you could argue that, Ezra wants to keep an eye on Thrawn or something, but still, it's like Thrawn seems to be under the impression that he's completely lost Ezra and is using Sabine to track him. I don't know. It was very stupid.
I don't know.
Also, Sabine, I get that obviously she really wants to see Ezra. But, like, how can she not see that? Like, if she has a history with Thrawn, how can she not see that Thrawn's using her to get to Ezra?
Because she's not very smart, I guess.
I guess. I don't know. Maybe this...
Because she didn't complete her training.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't... I don't feel strongly about this episode. There were things I liked about it. There's nothing I hated about it or anything. I was just like... Mm-hmm. Oh, Balin Skull, he's really cool. Okay, now there's other things happening, and these are things that are happening, and now there's hermit crab people, and yay, they're back together. So happy, and it's over.
Yeah. It kind of seems like the rest of this show is just them getting off the planet. That's my impression.
You don't think there's going to be any climactic thing, or you think they're saving that for the big movie or whatever?
Oh, well, I think it's going to end with Ahsoka trying to stop. Like, Ahsoka's going to arrive. They're going to all reunite next episode. And then, I mean, because obviously we have Balin Skull wanting to do whatever he wants to do on this planet still, which I'm sure will come to a head in the last episode. So I'm guessing Thrawn and them, they're going to escape at the end of the last episode. And then they're going to be like, it's going to be kind of sad, but there's still hope or something. I don't know.
Sounds good.
That's my guess. 2 episodes left. So that would make sense to me.
Can't wait for the next episode to be a Mandalorian episode.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for it. Yeah, it's gonna happen.
Or a Boba Fett episode. I'm taking this one back.
That'd be even funnier, a Boba Fett episode. Oh my gosh, gee whiz.
Where'd you get that Mandalorian armor? I am a Mandalorian.
Oh, I'm not.
How did he get his armor again? That was the whole thing.
Isn't his armor just Jango Fett's armor?
Yeah, but why? How did Jango get the armor?
I can't remember. I think he just stole it or something.
No, it was like honorable. So they did it in Mandalorian season 2, right? Because he's like, "That's Mandalorian armor. You got to give it back." He's like, my father actually did this, blah, 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 blah.
Oh, yeah, that's
Get
right.
into
I
my
do remember
Jaguar.
that.
And Jason Statham, Boba Fett.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm trying to think if there's
Aquaman's dad.
trying to think if there's anything else about this episode. It really is just like, I don't know. Not a ton happened. Yeah, I mean,
we're
watched,
sorry, okay?
Yeah.
We didn't see Rebels, okay?
Yeah.
We're sorry. This is our perspective. Maybe it'll be amazing the last 2 episodes.
We watched this one together, and like halfway through, you're like, this is another episode that just does not need to be this long.
In my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree though. Like there's a lot of scenes that could just be cut down. I don't know. It takes its sweet time getting anywhere.
And look, I'm not saying that everything has to be just no frill, nothing, but I feel like you have to be better than this to earn that. But for some people who rate this 10 out of 10 on IMDb, it is. So, I mean, there's plenty of people out there who like this.
What's this episode rated on IMDb?
Jealous of you. It was 8 something when we looked at it.
Okay. I couldn't remember if we looked or not.
So I think I had looked at least. So Ahsoka, go to episode guide.
I probably liked...
This one was 8.3.
I probably liked the previous episode more.
Which was the 9.3.
Although then again, it did have that second half that I didn't much care for. I don't know. It's just fine.
2 more episodes.
2 more episodes. We'll see where it goes. We'll keep watching it.
Yep.
For comparison, I'm not like super invested in this show, but I'm not at the point where I was with like the Lord of the Rings show where I literally dropped off halfway through and then binged the last few episodes. Yeah. It's not quite at that point for me. So, for whatever that means.
That's a great comparison for me, the Lord of the Rings show.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, it's not horrible.
No.
But it's not blowing me away. And for some reason, some people think it's amazing, and I don't get it.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at. That's Ahsoka. Let's just save time for Saw, because we're going to be here for a while.
We are, yeah.
Saw 5 coming at you real soon, right after this.
Okay. Saw 5.
Saw.
Jimmy. Oh, yes.
Here we go. Buckle up.
Yeah,
this is going to be spoiler filled. So if you have
filled.
not seen Saw 5, go out and watch it. They're on Prime. Except for 7 / the final chapter / 3D.
Yeah, which is weird. I don't like even Jigsaw was on there. It didn't make much sense.
Amazon is like, we are not going to pay for that.
So, I don't think I made the proclamation last episode, but I think after rewatching this is my favorite film series.
Oh, I thought you were going to say this is your least favorite Saw film.
No. Saw is officially my favorite film series, I think.
Wow.
Which is insane.
Incredible.
I like
Lord of the Rings, take a seat.
Yeah.
Star Wars,
get out of here.
Indiana Jones.
Marvel, get out.
Marvel. Yeah, gee whiz, over Marvel, huh?
Well, here's the thing, right? Aside from Spiral, which I think I'll give brief thoughts on Spiral maybe at the very end here when we do our rankings. Like every one of these movies I love, I pretty much love, like more or less.
You're making a good argument.
Because
you could pop in any of these and I'm going to have a good time.
Exactly. Like I know, like if you were to look, we are not looking at these movies very critically. If you were to stand back, like and take into account like how these movies are made and everything and how they're written and everything, they're not good. Not very good.
They are
there are worse.
I think they are not given credit for how good they actually are.
That's true.
I think they are quite creative, and they just churned these things out. These could be so much worse than they are.
I do think contemporary like views on it are a little bit kinder. Like if you look at Metacritic scores for these movies, they're like, I think Saw 7 is like a 20 or something. It's like so low.
Well.
And like, okay, I know we'll get to it. I know what you're alluding to, but like, I think people in general, like if they get past like the idea of the torture porn, quote unquote idea, like most people seem like that can handle the gore seem to enjoy these movies.
Yes.
So, Yeah, I just think with the amount of fun you get, that's my proclamation I'm making. And with that, getting into SAW V.
We start off with a bang. You got the pendulum trap.
Yes. Yes.
Shing, shing. And the guy, he's got to, what does he got to do? Break his like hands or something?
Yeah, he's got to like
Poke
push. I think
it's
he's
got to
push,
crush his hands.
Yeah, it's got to crush his hands. He's got
get
to
him
push
out.
this button that makes it crush his hands. And then
which is kind of unfair. Like he should have to like write down or something, and then it crushes his hands. So then like he has to push while it's getting crushed.
That seems really hard.
I mean, the whole trap is rigged because it's just to murder him.
Yeah,
but still.
Yeah, it still seemed really painful and everything. And then the effects when he gets cut in half with the pendulum anyway. It's very gruesome, but it introduces
beautifully tasteless.
Yeah, beautifully tasteless. It's but it introduces an interesting mystery. It's like, why is this one rigged? You know.
Yeah,
wow,
he did it.
Yeah, he did it.
There's never been a rigged SAW trap before.
Everyone's been able to escape. Like
Amanda didn't do this exact same thing. It's like 2 movies ago. That was 2 movies ago, right?
I think. That was 3. That was the big thing.
This is the problem with the like 3 through 7 is they are just a blur.
They are a blur. Well, and that's
especially with 5 because 5 is literally the Back to the Future Part 2 of the SAW movies, where it just goes back to the other ones.
What I'm going to say about SAW V right off the bat here is prior to going into this one, last time I watched through these, this was my least favorite of the non-spiral movies.
Okay.
Now I think it's a little bit higher, but I do think it's still one of the weaker ones overall.
I do
personally,
too, but I still had fun with it.
Yeah, of course.
Like,
like 1 through 8 of these, like no matter how low they are, I still have fun with them to some extent. Even 2, like which we did, complain about last episode. There's still some enjoyable things in that.
Yes.
But yeah, no, there's still a lot of good here, including my man Strom.
Agent Strom, who's got a great introduction. We will be doing a whole ranking of this. At the end of this retrospective, it's going to be time coded in the description. So check that out. And we will update that ranking with SAW X next week as well. So be on the lookout for that. I cannot wait. And one of the things I love about, we'll get to that with SAW rankings. I was just going to say that there is no consensus. And that's the wonderful thing about SAW is
everyone has a favorite and like everyone has a least favorite. It really goes anyway.
But Agent Strom. What an intro. He's got the classic water box trap is what I called it. It's a pretty iconic one at this point. But yeah, it's another just rigged trap from Hoffman, where the whole point is, he just wants to kill Strom. But then he gives him a tracheotomy. Did he give him that, or did he just have that in his pocket?
What I meant is Strom gives him that to himself.
Oh,
a tracheotomy. Yeah, it's just a pen.
Stabs
in his
himself. Was it just a pen? Is that what it was?
Yeah,
he like broke the pen and it.
Which is honestly, it's really smart.
Really smart.
Like that's something I'll give this movie is that's one of the most creative exits for a trap, especially since this one's rigged and everything.
No one made it out alive.
And then Strom immediately cues Strom being wheeled out on a gurney.
Hoffman's like, oh bleep. Where's
It's kind of in a. Oh, you're doing. There's this. Finding a bleep. Bleep. Yeah, it's that scene after the trap is interesting because that's like it's essentially the conclusion of the SAW 3 guy because like Hoffman comes carrying the daughter out. It's just like it's hardly even like it's not really even mentioned. It's just like you have to note that like the daughter is missing and then he's carrying out the girl and
he's the hero. Holden.
He's the hero. Yeah, they're the only ones that made it out alive.
But Strom is suspicious.
He is.
I'm on to you, Hoffman.
I think what's really funny about this movie, so obviously I talked about last episode how Strom and Hoffman are like 2 of my favorite characters in this whole series. Inexplicably.
Catch me if you can.
Yeah. But this episode is just catch me if you can, a cat and mouse game between the 2. And Strom is like... I feel like I get that he's suspicious of Hoffman, but he jumps to so many conclusions in this movie. he's just like figuring out everything somehow.
Yeah, so he just goes there, and then there's a flashback to it, and then it's like he figured it out. Like he just saw the flashback.
He sees exactly what happens there. He's got like he's got some just great, like, I don't know what you'd call it, some psychic intuition.
Yeah, he like goes to the pendulum trap and he sees like the eye hole in the window, and he's like, that was definitely Hoffman.
He's like someone was watching.
He's like got a little cardboard cutout of Hoffman. He's like, oh man, perfectly eye level.
He doesn't actually. That'd be pretty funny though. God.
But he's like, he's got it down. But then you have the Saw like main storyline, I guess, going on.
Which 5 victims? It's Saw 5.
Saw 5 victims, and Hoffman's got a little miniature. They brought back the little miniature with the dollhouse guys.
Yeah, it's funny to me that like in this movie especially, when the whole like concept of the arcing story is that it's like Hoffman's essentially trying to stay 2 steps ahead of Strom's trying to catch up. And Hoffman just still has time to do this, like set up this game and like run it and everything. He's like, Jigsaw set up a timetable. I, got to keep it going.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
They wake up and they have the harnesses or whatever.
Yeah. It's neck things.
Yeah. This is Saw 5 is the one where every room has a bunch of nail bombs.
Yeah. Which there's
literally a line where like, oh great, more bombs.
Yeah. I think one of the reasons why this movie's lower for me is because I don't think any, like, aside from maybe the pendulum at the beginning and the water box trap, I don't think any of the other traps are like that interesting.
Well, I think like the reveal at the end.
The reveal at the end is very good.
That they could have all made it.
Mm-hmm.
I think is kind of like it. I still think it's creative enough because it's like you have to think of traps where someone could die to let you go through, but if they
true.
So it's pretty creative that they knocked this script out in like a week. So
yeah,
that is true. The next one, but they start off with like the collars and this. It's very similar to like the beginning of Jigsaw.
It
honestly.
is, yeah,
like reverse Jigsaw opening trap, the bucket head trap.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was the twist at the end that the keys would have worked for any of them. I thought that was that never even occurred to me.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those things where in a lot of these movies, like Jigsaw will just say something that like it will so obviously be interpreted one way, but then it can be also interpreted a different way.
Yeah.
And that's the way he intends. And that's how it is here. Like, I don't remember exactly what he says on the tape, but he basically just tells them that, he can share the keys.
Yeah, something like that.
Whatever it is he says.
Share needles.
Share needles.
I'll throw you into this needle pit.
The one girl gets decapitated.
Yeah, just
yeah.
Nice. I was like, just take turns. Just like, all right. Everybody back. All right, you go. All right, now you go, and then you go. Okay, we made it.
Oh, yeah, the worst thing about, but also I think one of the funniest things about all the traps in all of these movies is just everyone is so bad at communicating.
Oh,
everyone just screams.
Well, I love the first,
constantly.
I love how it's like you have 60 seconds to do this, and the first 20 seconds are always like, oh my god,
what do I do? What is happening? I don't want to do it.
I don't want to do this. What's happened? Why am I here? Shut up. Listen to me.
Lucky for them, the trap always ends up actually being like a minute and a half, like with how the time actually plays out. Yeah. So they're not actually losing that much time.
So they make it out, and then I call it the Chamber of Secrets trap. That's what I call the next one. The bomb and
the little holes in the wall.
Yeah, and they have to do like the toddler shape matching.
That's right. Yeah, and they have to knock down the glass bottles. They have to smash them or whatever, get the keys from it. I will say this, the investigative reporter guy is like one of the most irritating characters in like all of these movies.
You think so?
Because it's like his whole bit, and I think of this every time I think of this movie, is he's just like, he'll say something cryptic about one of the people, and then they'll be like, how do you know that? And then he's just silent. He's just looking around, like not ignoring them. It's so like,
why don't you quit lying about that, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, what? You didn't mention your rich daddy or whatever he says. Like, what do you know about that? It's so stupid.
See, I thought he was interesting. And I said, most interesting victim is the second to die, LOL. Well, this is the most nonsensical trap because they're not safe in that place at all because the shrapnel could just fly through very easily. So they needed like an actual like bunker closing thing.
Yeah, big
and I'm like,
door.
Clearly more than one person can fit
They go
in
so
these.
deep. Yeah.
I'm like, you could share one, which is like the twist at the end. I'm like, they're like, oh, we could, more than one of us could have fit in each of those
you didn't
things.
figure that out while you were in there. It's so dumb.
Yeah. Oh no, wait. And he just gets blown to pieces.
Just completely disintegrated. Yeah, that one's pretty fun. But then the next one is the tub with the jumper cables and all that.
Close the circuit.
This is probably my favorite out of all the game traps in this one, just because I do like how it incorporates the twist at the end. But I also I just think it's funny how like morbid it is. They just kill the one girl and then just all like jump her. She's like spasming from like the electricity and. Yeah, that's pretty good. She also the lady who dies there is like one of the only SAW victims I've like recognized from other things, and I'm not sure I could name it off the top of my head, but I'm like I've seen her in other stuff. But
yeah. Then the final trap where they have to donate so much of their blood. I'm like, why didn't they just use the dead girl?
Yeah, that's what I think too. Like I was thinking that too. I was like, yeah, I mean, you just go in, carefully take off the jumper cables, and I mean, it's
I
not
think
like
the door like does slam shut eventually. No, no.
It
They
does.
go
Yeah.
they go and slam it because they're like, oh, the bomb's gonna go off, and they like close it, and then it blows off.
Yeah.
I like how they always react. Like it's like, and like a little bit goes underneath it. I'm like, oh my gosh, like every time.
Yeah, that was pretty good. But yeah, I didn't really understand that. Like even when I could be wrong, but I feel like they knew what they had to do for the trap before they closed the door. I could be wrong about that, but I feel like I remember.
I feel like they did too, because they like learned to like wait to the last second to buy themselves as much time as possible.
Yeah, I think so. And I remember thinking the exact same thing. They go in, they like rush in, they slam the door. I'm like, you could have probably very quickly. I know you have to drag her or whatever, but they probably could have done it in whatever time they had. Would have been the smart thing, but then they wouldn't be bleeding out on the ground.
Well, yeah, they went back into their room to do something. I cannot remember what it is, but they're like, I don't think it's a good idea to be in here.
Yeah, what were they doing?
I don't remember. I could maybe flip to it, but
they were doing. I can't remember if they were like testing a key or something.
That's I think what it was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's
testing a key on the door or something.
But yeah, one of the scenes. So you have the Hoffman. Like a lot of this movie is also Hoffman's like conversion into a Jigsaw copycat assistant person.
We learn, so it starts out, we learn that Hoffman, he made the pendulum trap at the beginning a while ago to kill the guy who killed his sister, I believe. And so that was kind of, he did it. That's why it was, unwinnable and everything. It was purely just to murder him and frame it on Jigsaw. And then Jigsaw, takes notice and figures out it's Hoffman somehow. I can't remember how, or if it even explains how, but he captures him and puts him in the chair with the shotgun and it's like, I don't know, threatens him. And then the shotgun doesn't go off. He's like, now you appreciate your life or whatever.
I do have written down like this. I like the portrayal of Jigsaw in this movie. I think it is more like online with him being like this singular mission that he has.
Yeah, I can't remember if I wrote down anything about it. I did write down I did write down but I'm guessing it was probably Amanda. I was like, how did frail old Jigsaw move Hoffman off that elevator without anyone noticing? Because like they drug him on the elevator.
Who's that?
Hoffman. When he gets like captured initially, they like drug him on an elevator in his apartment building. How did they move him?
I don't know. Yeah. So it's just silly.
It is very silly.
Why does he become a Jigsaw copycat?
I don't know. They keep alluding to, I don't know if it's in this movie, but certainly in the next two movies, they keep alluding to how Hoffman just likes the brutality of it and everything. But yeah, otherwise it's just like, I don't know. He's just, it seems to be like, I think Jigsaw kind of blackmails him. He's like, if you go to the cops about me, I'll tell them what you did and everything like that. But it's still just kind of silly that Hoffman goes along with everything and just gets embroiled in it. But I guess if he likes it, he likes it, Yeah. I'm not complaining. My man Hoffman is now an accomplice. So
Strom goes to the barbed wire trap from the first one, and it reveals how the pen, Dr. Gordon's pen, is like planted.
Yeah, it was planted evidence from Hoffman. Yeah. Hoffman brought it to the station.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
That's
really
gosh. Silly.
It's like this is the core of like how I always say 4 through 7 is like my favorite run, and it like the crux of it, aside from like the whole Hoffman thing, is how they just are rewriting everything constantly. Every small detail in the previous movies is important. Yeah. You won't know it's important until a few movies later. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. It's almost genius, honestly.
It is. Well, I mean, 3 through 7 is such a good run that every movie is so entertaining.
It is.
None of them are like long. They're just great.
Yeah.
They're just incredible.
I apparently SAW 3 is apparently the longest one at like an hour 47 or something.
Yeah.
Apparently the new one's going to be like almost 2 hours.
Yes.
So we got a lot of new SAW. Yeah. But yeah, what else? I'm trying to look through here at my notes. I thought it was okay. So I mentioned Jigsaw moving Hoffman out of that elevator. I thought it was really funny that the dog that like barks at him, it's like supposed to be like a jump scare thing. Hoffman's in this apartment. The dog's name is just Pee Wee. The woman's like, "Come here, Pee Wee," or something.
Pee Wee, listen up.
Yeah,
yeah,
but that was funny.
That was funny too. I wrote that down too. The blood filling trap. I said, why didn't they use the lady's blood from the bathtub? But then also, why do they keep pushing their hands forward? Why don't they just like bleed into it?
Like that doesn't make. I mean,
and there's a little bit of a time crunch. I understand,
but yeah, I feel like they'd still have enough time. I don't know. It was kind of silly. Yeah. Like clearly they're just, and then I mean the effect at the end of the guy's like arm being like almost completely split in half. Yeah. That was pretty gross.
Nice. So the other twist is how they're all connected, and it's all to like remake this one district or something. They want to build a new building.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I just literally scam.
I just put you used me for land development.
That was literally it. Yeah, it was because it was
SpongeBob reference for you.
I'm trying to remember. The one lady was like, I want to build something there. So she uses the one guy to burn it. I
didn't know there was any people in there.
Yeah, he's like an arsonist. There is the investigative reporter that got bribed to bury the story. The one fire like safety inspector who like lied or whatever to have it happen. And then I can't remember what the last one was.
I don't know. They were all connected.
They were all connected to this like this building or like this. It might have literally been an orphanage, honestly, where people burned like were inside, or it was an apartment. I don't remember.
I think it was some like rundown apartment complex.
People were inside regardless. People died in the fire.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how they were connected. I think it's funny that like at the end of the movie, the two like survivors, there's the one lady like comes out and talks to the FBI guy, and the other guy is just like clearly dead in in the room where he was like giving all the blood and everything, and then he's in 7.
Yeah,
he's just alive.
he's just taking a nap.
I guess so. Yeah, maybe they got to it. They patched up that arm lickety split. I guess.
Just put a little duct tape on that sucker. Strom gets to Hoffman Holman. He's got him right where he wants.
He does. He's just, and Strom is clearly just not listening to this tape at all. It's like
all you gotta do, Detective Strom, Agent. What's his name? Agent Strom.
yeah, Agent Strom,
Special
Agent Strom.
All you gotta do, Special Agent Strom, is get in this box, and I promise you'll be 100% a-okay. Okay,
like,
buddy boy.
Nah,
It's like, I will not get in this box.
I'm not falling for this, Hoffman.
I'll push you into this box.
You want me to get in this box? You're going in the box. Which I don't. Okay, so first, a few things about this. First off, the glass box was set up in SAW 4.
It was?
Yeah, it's this random scene. I think it's a flashback because I think it's Jigsaw. Jigsaw's he like caresses this glass box.
I think I know what you're talking about now. Well, they must have had a list of traps that they had thought. Like,
Yeah,
this
that
was
they
like
wanted to do.
must have been a scrapped trap idea that they were like, we're going to implement
could
this
be.
later. I'm sure that
Yeah.
list existed.
Probably. But yeah, and then the other thing, like Hoffman's like wanting to rig these traps, and like he's clearly wanting Strom to die. He rigged that glass box trap, so there's no way for him to escape. Why does he give Strom a way to escape this one at all? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. He's like, sure, Strom, he doesn't want to believe Hoffman, which already is super stupid.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, why would he give him this out in this close? Why wouldn't he just seal him in this room and have it just close in on him?
Yeah.
Very silly. But it is honestly, I think it's really funny how, Hoffman gets shoved in the box. He's like, he hams it up a little bit. He's like, get me out of here. And he's like struggling a little bit. And then, and then the tape had just stopped at the perfect time. Strom goes down, picks it up, hits play again. And it just is like, the walls are going to close in on you. You're going to die if you don't get in this box or something. It's not exactly that, but it's essentially that. And then Hoffman's just smiling and, gets crushed. It is pretty gruesome. That's pretty gross. You see his arm split open.
One thing's for sure, I'm going to be a whole lot thinner. I think the biggest missed opportunity that Detective Hoffman does not say, game over.
He doesn't.
I cannot believe that.
No. He says,
just kind of smiles.
Yeah. And does he say game over in 4?
I think they say it in all the other ones.
Okay. I don't
remember 4.
I was wondering because if he doesn't say it in 4, I don't think he says it at all.
I don't know.
Doesn't really matter, but it's still kind of, disappointing.
I feel like he says game over at some point.
Yeah, it seems like it. Game over.
Game over. But yeah, that apparently. So here's some stuff on Wikipedia. Mm-hmm. This is according to Hackle.
David Hackle's the director of this one. Set design, production designer of the first
2, 3, and 4.
2 through 4. Yeah.
So this is his directorial debut. We had about a week to write the outline, then the script by the end of the month. We're really just throwing down the ideas now and it's coming together quickly. I've been with Darren, Lynn Bousman of the other ones. Of all the sequels, we've always arrived just before Christmas with a script that needed a lot of shakedown, but before shooting, the script is really tight. Right until the last days of filming, we're always changing things and adjusting things, just seeing what works as the story unfolds. And I think that's why people like them, because we never let them rest. We don't go into pre-production with the scripts and say, that's it, no changes. We push it so there's no holes.
I'd say there's no holes in this movie. It's flawless.
Oh man.
I think in just a second, I think I'm going to run through my notes, just hitting anything we didn't touch on. But I want to say the thing that holds this movie back for me and why I've always considered this one of the lower ones is just because almost it feels like this movie we're just like not really learning anything much. like sure we have Hoffman retroactively put into the events of 1 through 4 and everything. We get that, which is fun and everything. But other than that, it's just like the plot doesn't really move forward at all. Like nothing really happens.
Well, Strom finds out that Hoffman's the Jigsaw copycat, but then he
with
just gets
circumstantial
crushed.
evidence at best. He's like, as a matter of fact,
you can't prove anything.
Okay, let's see here.
F you, Agent Strom.
So I took pretty extensive notes on 5 through and 6, 7 and 8. I hadn't seen as often, so I kind of became more engrossed in those. So I may be more relying on your notes for those, but. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, so at the beginning of the movie, there was a transition from Hoffman's face to Jigsaw's face on a magazine cover. I was like, very subtle. He's the new Jigsaw. All right. The box left for Jill set up here. Yeah. I think it's funny how everything Hoffman says to anyone that like doesn't know he's Jigsaw is just so suspicious in all of these movies. I wrote down that his speech at his ceremony for like whatever medal he won at the beginning of this movie.
Justice has been served.
Yeah, he said life. He says life is sacred. Justice is the backbone to every peaceful society. I wrote down here that with the knowledge of SAW VI, I think it's really funny that there's a scene of just Strom sitting in a hospital room staring at a bed. You're supposed to think that what's her name is dead.
Yeah.
He's just staring.
Perez.
Yeah, Perez. You're supposed to think she's dead. He's just sitting there like she's dead. I'm like, in the next one, we're like, okay, so they didn't tell Hoffman, but like, I feel like Strom would have known. So why is he there? That doesn't make any sense to me. Anyway, let's see here. I thought it was, I talked to you earlier this weekend. I think it's funny when Jigsaw just roasts Hoffman for his blade being like inferior in every way or whatever. He's like,
yeah,
you have to use tempered steel.
Yeah. Idiot. And Amanda's like, yeah, idiot.
The FBI director guy just seems to quickly latch onto Strom being the Jigsaw accomplice. Like this guy that he's worked with for many years. He's like, oh yeah, this guy's probably Jigsaw. Let's see. Jigsaw gave Hoffman the SAW V game on his deathbed. That's funny. Oh, I thought it was funny. I think this was just in the middle of like the game when Hoffman was like checking up on him. I thought it was funny that Hoffman made sure to go get coffee on his way to Jigsaw work. Another day at the office. Yeah, I think that's about all I have. Overall, it's a little better than I remembered. I think once again, my love for Strom and Hoffman just carries this movie, really. Like, even though I think it has some of the weaker traps, I think it has one of the weaker overall stories, it's still just fun. So
yeah, a couple IMDb bits of trivia for you. Scott Patterson, which I believe is Agent Strom, was apprehensive about sticking his head in a sealed box that would fill with water. The trap was tested beforehand and didn't go well, which only added to his concern. He ultimately stepped up and did the scene himself without resorting to a stuntman. The trick to the stunt is that the walls of the box were slid open by stagehands, draining the trap as soon as he signaled with his hands. Several takes were required, however, to capture the scene, as he found himself uncomfortable at various points during the shooting of this scene.
I mean, that
sounds terrible.
That does sound terrible, but I mean, it's cool that they did it all practically, and he did it himself. The commitment's admirable.
Danny Glover was offered a chance to reprise his role in a flashback as Agent Tippett. Agent Tap. He had to decline because of shooting conflicts with the film Blindness from 2008.
Nice.
That's, I think, anything that's worthwhile talking about here. So there you go. That's SAW V.
That's SAW V.
Wow.
We're an hour in. We're only one Saw movie in.
All right, let's talk about SAW VI.
Yes. All right, SAW VI. This is the big one for me, Jimmy. Just remains after rewatching my favorite Saw movie
of all
of them.
Wow.
Obviously Saw 1 is very good. I think for me, this is just like peak what I want out of Saw. It has literally everything. I think the last 30 minutes of this movie are like so good. I think the rest of the movie is very good. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a very good Saw movie on its own, but it shines in the last 30 minutes. I think we should try to talk about it in order, but I really can't wait to talk about like the last third of this movie.
This to me is clearly the best Saw sequel. Mm-hmm. I just think it is really good. I think it has traps for the ages. Mm-hmm. I think the social commentary is good.
Yeah.
Like, like more than, like
It has
it's not. It's way better than 5 of like, oh, you guys killed a bunch of like homeless people essentially, who are hanging out in like this abandoned apartment building or whatever it was.
Yeah. No, it's got everything I want. It's got good traps, convoluted story, Mark Hoffman doing some crazy things. It's got it's got a great twist. Honestly, maybe my favorite twist,
which I had forgotten.
Yeah,
somehow
it's close with 4. I talked about how much I love the twist in 4 because of how stupid it is. This one is very. I don't know which one I like more. Probably this one if I had to pick. But it's so good in this. Yeah. Oh my gosh. But we can start with the first trap, which I starting with this one. I don't know if I guess maybe I did. I started like giving like names to these traps. I know they have actual names.
Yeah, I started making up some of my own too.
This one I called Weight Loss or Weight Watchers or something.
Weight Watchers.
That'd be pretty good.
I think I put Pound of Flesh trap.
Okay.
I don't know. I said Jigsaw really missed an opportunity to make it cost you an arm and a leg joke.
That would have been pretty funny.
Saving your life's gonna cost you an arm and a leg, depending on how much your opponent commits. Really, honestly.
But yeah, this is a good intro trap. I think it's very
just disgusting and tasteless.
Disgusting trap
and not fair. Like he needs to be prorated.
Yeah, there's
percent body weight.
There's a lot of traps in this series that are just clearly unfair. In this movie, there's at least 2 traps that are unfair. I will talk about the other one in a little bit, but yeah, this one is unfair. You have the one guy who's like cutting off pieces of his stomach. Just that's so gross. Seeing like his under the skin and everything. And then the one lady starts cutting off her arm. It looks great. Like it's so like her cutting it off. She makes a really funny face when she does it.
She just gets her like,
but it looks great.
Buzzer beater too.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
It's but yeah, I thought it was.
And then it just
clever.
drills into the guy's skull. just the highbrow sort of entertainment that we seek out.
I don't remember why they were in the traps. I don't remember what their purpose was.
I think they like ripped people off. They like totally took advantage of people or something. They like gave out payday loans or something that they knew their people couldn't repay or something.
I think you're right.
Something like that.
I just wrote, and I also wrote down with this, I was like, quick and straight to the point. I feel like even more so than some of the other intro traps, this one just like gets going immediately. Yeah. There's not much intro.
It's simple.
Here. It is.
You know, like in Jigsaw, he says, this trap's simple. The best ones are.
Yeah.
You know,
and this is a good trap.
That's a good one.
So, then we get in, Hoffman gets out. We see the remains of Strom. who honestly, looks better than I would have expected. I'm surprised he's not more smushed.
I'm surprised at how connected he still is.
Yeah, like it's just
his butt's looking a little flat these days.
It is a little bit.
I like those like jeans.
It's still there. Yeah,
he goes and grabs the arm.
It's attached to the ceiling.
That's I love his little smile. It's like, gonna get. He's got to get the pliers out to like undo the arm.
Mm-hmm. I think
incredible.
One of the things that I think is very funny every time I watch this movie is the flashbacks and the scenes where he like is planting his fingertip, like Strom's fingertips. Just the way he's like putting his face, like this, like the arm on the face. He's very gentle. He's very gentle with it. It's very funny. He's taking care.
Is that revealed at the end that it's his hand?
Is that the beginning? It's like middle of the movie. It's his hands,
okay.
and then he uses it a second time later on when he does something quite insane. But then we're introduced to the insurance guy, who's kind of the main game character of this movie. The insurance company is called Umbrella.
Which is that an allusion to
Resident Evil?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's supposed to be, but that's all I thought of.
I'm like, wait a second here.
That's Umbrella from Resident Evil. Yeah, and this guy is he's just a scummy insurance man. Like he's just I think the actor is really good. He's really good at like putting maybe even like believing his own like formula, but like clearly it's flawed in many ways, which Jigsaw kind of points out later.
Well, he's like a very cold, calculated individual.
He
obviously,
is, yeah.
Where it's like, oh well, he's just like a thinker, so it's like numbers and this is that.
Not
and
very.
Like, he's not thinking
at
of the
all.
human element of it. And Jigsaw is the complete opposite, where he's complete like feeler and emotional. He's like, well, doesn't that mean that you're valuing one person's life more than another?
Yeah, and his like
you're underestimating the most important factor,
the will to live.
The will to live.
Yeah, that's from that scene later on.
Yeah.
I think it's funny that he has a whole group of people whose seemingly only job is to find discrepancies in people's applications. That's the vibe I get.
Yeah.
Like that seems to be their only point, which
to
is
save them money.
To save them money.
Yeah.
And I did like that, and you probably didn't notice this since you didn't remember the twist, but he stops and like watches the TV, which his sister is like reporting on.
Oh, no, I noticed him stopping and watching TV, but I didn't realize it.
Yeah, it was his sister on it.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I honestly hadn't noticed it before. I made note that was foreshadowing. I hadn't noticed before. Yeah.
So I have look at my gosh dang arm on here. When does that lady say that?
Oh yeah, that's
Is she like talking to Hoffman or something?
I think she is. Yeah. Well, okay. So
I'm trying to like flip through it on Amazon Prime,
she's talking to I think the two FBI guy, or at least the FBI like head guy, and maybe Perez as well. Hoffman's definitely there. Like, look at my gosh dang arm.
Except she doesn't say gosh dang, if you know what we mean.
It's that's a pretty funny scene. I'm not.
Be grateful. Look at my gosh dang arm.
And that's another. I didn't write this down. That's another example of Hoffman's just saying like suspicious stuff. He's just like, well, "Are you grateful?
Yeah.
Are you grateful?"
I have a comment here. It says, "Why is Jill suddenly a part of this? Jill flashback is hilarious. This must be when she gets her box."
She gets the box in the last movie.
In 5.
In 5.
So
yeah.
this is in 6.
Yeah. Yeah, she's just like she is like suddenly a part of it. And I didn't remember that. I thought it was like more gradual. You find that out, but it's just like I think the first reveal is just when Hoffman goes and talks to her, right?
Yeah.
He's like, "Stay out of this one. After this one, we're done.
Give me all the things that Jigsaw gave you."
Yeah.
Well, then from now on, I'm calling all the shots.
Yeah.
Costas Mandalore. We got Costas Mandalore is the coolest name that
Such a
anybody
cool
has
name.
ever had.
Yeah. I'm jealous of that.
We
man.
need to meet Costas Mandalore, Holden.
bring him on the
Fan.
podcast.
Unbelievable.
But yeah, Jill's just suddenly a part of it. We didn't really mention her in the last one, but that's because all she does in the last one, and I like made note of this. I guess I forgot to mention it, but like all she does is get the box, and then she like talks to the police once. She's hardly in it. But yeah, she's in this. She's now, I guess, part of the games, kind of.
Like you said, Jill Tuck is a horrible character.
Yes.
Unbelievably badly written.
Just not very, I don't think very well acted, which isn't helped by the writing. Just
her storyline, her character arc doesn't make any sense at all.
It doesn't. But I just still kind of like it, honestly.
And I like how Strom like called it from the beginning. He's like, "You're involved in this, aren't you? What do you know?" He's just
Strom had like a third eye for this stuff. He just knew everything from the get-go. We're catching up to where he was at.
Honestly. He's still alive.
He is.
Yeah.
That we're gonna maybe we'll see him in SAW X, because that'll be before he died.
It's like a grate, and he just like opened the grate somehow and closed it.
Yeah.
And that was a body double.
It was, yeah. And Hoffman just didn't notice.
With his
when he was
identical
laying down there.
fingerprints.
Yeah. It's identical fingerprints.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Oh, I wrote down, and I don't remember. I assume this was for like one of the maybe the first time that the insurance guy wakes up. I said Jigsaw was so confident and good at planning these traps that he's just filming these videos unmasked now.
Yeah.
He's like, he knew he was going to be dead and uncovered at this point.
Yeah.
I thought that was really funny. Okay, so if we get in, we can start with the game, I guess.
Well, I wanted to talk about. Yeah, no, we could talk about the game. Yeah.
Okay. So like the first trap that the guy wakes up in, I called Short of Breath.
And just have breathing trap. I didn't come up with clever titles. I just came up with things that would help me remember.
Oh, okay. Short of breath trap. This is the other one that is just unfair.
Yeah.
Just clearly unfair.
Especially, what did the janitor do?
Not like, I don't, he smoked. That was the justification they gave. He was a smoker.
Yeah. Deserves to die.
Yeah, I guess. Like,
Gee whiz.
Yeah. And so they're supposed to like
1 week from retirement.
They're supposed to hold their breath, and anytime they take a breath, like they get jabbed in the sides, they get crushed essentially. And so yeah, the guy who's smoking, his lungs are clearly not as healthy as the other guys, and so he dies. It's just so unfair. I'm like, I feel bad for this guy.
Did not do anything.
No,
not the only person to not do anything, to just die.
It's true. There's a lot of people in this movie actually that are that way.
Yeah,
but yeah. I wrote down, I think this was, this might have been right after the short of breath trap. I wrote down Hoffman is just pinning up photos for no reason. he's just, he has like a cork board. He's just putting up photos. Like no reason for that.
Like after they've been kidnapped. Well, shout out to the insurance guy just shooting his security guard on accident.
That's right. I always forget about that. And then they just brush over that. They
He's
never
like,
mention that again.
He's like, I'm so sorry. He's like, try to stop the intruder, whatever. And then he gets kidnapped.
That's right. Oh my gosh. I don't think they ever come back to that.
No, they don't.
Well, poor guy. Hopefully he's okay. Next trap, which happens pretty soon after. Also, this all takes place in like a zoo. It's one of the more like visually interesting like Saw game locations. So I call this one Leave 'Em Hanging.
No, that's good. Yeah, I have nothing. Apparently, I didn't write this one down.
Okay.
I do have. Is this before or after? They have the meeting where John and the insurance agent meet for the first time at like, because the insurance agency is like a donor for Jill's clinic, right? They do like a fundraiser.
Yeah, I believe so.
And that's when he learns about the formula.
And also John the guy is John's insurance provider too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, we both predict people's outcomes. So like, whatever. I'm like, wait a second. John's an engineer. Like, what?
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you talking about?
That doesn't make any sense outside it, and if you don't know he's Jigsaw.
And then they have the meeting where Jigsaw comes in and like gets denied insurance, and he goes, Piranha.
I wrote that down too. That's so funny. I don't know. I don't really get that.
I don't either.
It's just like funny because like the scene is like kind of tense because Jigsaw's John Kramer's a dangerous guy. He just gets up and he's piranha. I almost expected there to be like a piranha trap or something.
That would have been good.
That would have
Chekhov's piranha.
Chekhov's piranha. Yeah, I think the Leave 'Em Hanging trap was a little bit before that. But that's like the choice between the secretary
real
and
Sophie's choice.
Real Sophie's choice. The guy's
choice.
Which honestly, this trap, I'm like, in context of the guy's formula, it's like kind of interesting.
Yeah,
how that ties in.
It is like, well, I was legitimately wondering who he was gonna kill.
Yeah, it was like. It was really, I mean, obviously it was hard for him, but it like makes sense in regards to that and the commentary that the movie's trying to give. But it saves the woman.
Stinks for the guy.
Another guy that I don't think really did anything. But yeah, it's another just like simple trap too.
Yeah.
Also, how did the woman get out of there?
That's what I want to know.
She's just standing there on this very thin platform.
Yeah.
She still has the noose around her neck.
Yeah.
Of barbed wire. Just looks painful.
Yeah. Not pleasant.
Not a pleasant way to go out.
And then the Billy puppet's there too, right? So.
Yes, yeah. Drops down or whatever.
Nice. The Leave 'Em Hanging trap. Nice. Hold on.
Thank you.
Good title.
Thank you.
That was, I liked it in relation to his thing. Not seem super fair to the people who were involved.
No.
Unfortunately for them, then we get the steam trap. That's what I called it.
I just had steam room trap. Apparently I didn't have anything interesting to say about this
Steampunks.
Steampunk. Yeah. Steam,
mouse maze.
Yeah. Steam maze. I don't know.
What do they call the when you like blindfolded you like guide someone when they're blindfolded? Is there like a name to that game?
I don't know.
Steam one. Steam
Not the
Maze.
only time they're gonna have someone blindfolded and guided in this series.
Yeah. This one is just not enough time, right?
No.
It's like 60 seconds or whatever.
I think this is it might be the worst example in this series of just it clearly is way longer than what the time limit is.
Oh, yeah.
Like this scene has to go on for at least 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah.
It's only 60 seconds, they say. It's I wrote down I like how obscenely complicated this one seems to set up. Like they just need to have somehow found a perfect like room full of like steam pipes. They need to like get all the piping working and everything. They need to make sure, you can crawl around and that everything is timed perfectly. This one is
I like to think this trap is going on and then like a level above them, it's like Anakin and Obi-Wan fighting on the steam pipes.
That would be pretty good.
Take a left. Just the steam right into his neck. This guy wore a lot of just horrible injuries for very little return.
Yeah.
Like he was better off not trying at all to save anybody.
Really. But yeah, this one is like it's not very gory or anything, but just incredibly painful to watch. Like you just know that steam is so hot and everything. And the burns do look very, very hot too. So that helps.
Very convincing. And then you get the payoff of the looks like his internal organs are like missing.
Yeah.
Like he's got the
I couldn't
stitches.
remember it because like I said, this is my favorite one. I couldn't remember what that was setting up.
I'm like, I don't remember the payoff of that, and that's the key, which is kind of it's just a little underwhelming, I guess. It's kind of like, and it's like Saw, the original reverse bear trap, only more obvious.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. Well, I think my thing with it is it just adds another layer onto this trap that already is just too long for like the amount of time they get. Like give these guys like 3-4 minutes or something. Like
maybe don't have them have to cut each other open.
Yeah, I don't know. But and the lady just goes like berserk, goes after him with the saw. Yeah, the saw. Roll credits.
Roll credits. Oh no, don't hit me with that SAW 6. Roll credits. Yeah, so we got the steam trap. I just have a note here. Holden and Jill have the same car.
Oh, I didn't catch that. As a silver Prius?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You and Jill Tug.
Interesting.
There you go, Holden.
And then, Jimmy,
the one to rule them all.
Here's what I'll say. This is the start of what I say is the best chunk of this movie.
I agree.
It's so good. This is my favorite part of the whole Saw franchise. Is this last 30 minutes. But we do have what is maybe the best Saw trap of all, if not at least top 3. I call it riding shotgun.
That's good.
Thank you.
I just have carousel trap. Not as good.
I was thinking how to incorporate the carousel in there, but it is what it is. But yeah, this one is very iconic.
It is just an intense scene. It's well done. And well acted and well written.
Yeah.
And it's like, holy smokes, that was intense.
It is seriously one of the better moments in the whole series in terms of quality. Because like you have these 6 people on this carousel, and that you manage to make characters out of them in this one scene. These characters that we've never really seen much before, aside from kind of in the background.
Like, hey man, nice call.
Yeah, nice job.
Hey. I just saved us $200K by killing this lady.
Yeah, whoa, nice. Yeah. So, but you make characters out of all of them. You kind of, aside from like the first one that dies, you kind of get the sense of their personalities and everything. And I mean, the man has to make another very just horrible choice.
Yeah.
Another one where just people just die. There's no way for everyone to get out of it.
Just traumatizing the way the shotgun's like.
Yeah,
they're like, oh my
so
gosh,
well
and then he like
timed.
has
Oh
to
my
like
God.
crush his, like puncture his hand or whatever it is
Yeah, puncture his hand
in order, and then it goes up, and it still shoots the blast. I mean, it is very traumatic and
It is.
excellently done, and like. I love how the one like girl's like, I'm pregnant or whatever.
Yeah.
She's lying.
She's not pregnant.
And he's like, oh, have. Oh, that's it, man. I was
the
waiting for the
last guy. Oh my gosh.
game over, man. Game over.
I wrote down that even though the last guy is kind of overacting, he has a pretty good last few lines, and I completely forgot to write down what they were.
Look at me when you kill me, or whatever he says.
Yeah, it's pretty intense. I mean, he didn't just wait until the last person to save them. Honestly, the only thing I'm like, I'm kind of surprised he like didn't try to press the button a third time. Because I mean, Jigsaw did say you can only do it twice, but like I don't know. I would try it a third time.
Well, there's rules to hold, and if you
That's
break
true.
the rules, maybe he would have the shotgun would have just turned around and shot him.
Just turns around.
There are rules,
but yeah, it's just so creative.
The best. It's one of the best Saw traps, if not the best. Saw
It's
trap.
so good.
It's probably like the best sequence, other than like maybe the end of the first movie, right? Like
It's
of the
up-
whole
yeah.
series.
It is up there. It is insane that like this one it just turned. It seems just like a perfect storm. Honestly, I wonder. This one seems like an idea they had for like a long time, maybe, or something similar. It's just so creative and everything.
It works. It works 100%. And that's where it's like literally like them writing this in a month. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, how are you saying this is just bad? Like it is so much more than that.
Well, and they were turning these out every year too. And I think you talked about last time we talked about these, that they make most of these traps like work. Like in terms
they actually can function.
So they have to like engineer these to like at least move and look convincing and everything. That's a lot of work to do in a year for how many traps they make per movie.
Yeah, here's the little concept art of the carousel room trap is the official name.
Since the actors
were constantly spinning, they were given anti-nausea medication to prevent motion.
Oh my
sickness.
gosh, I wonder how long it took to film that, because that would just be awful.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, gotta commend the actors in these traps, because a lot of them just do seem miserable to film, but it makes it seem more convincing. So, maybe worth it as long as they're not traumatized or whatever.
This is from Armstrong. Who's Armstrong? I'm just skimming through the Wikipedia here. Gosh, I cannot tell you who Armstrong.
Oh wait, go back down. I might have seen it.
It might be like the production designer or something. I would imagine something like that. He says, where was I now? I lost my
Commenting
spot.
on the carousel room trap, Armstrong said, "It's very carnival playground-like. It's just nasty. There's spinning red lights in there. It's really overwhelming to walk in and look at because everything is spinning." Yeah.
It's the longest trap scene ever.
I could see. Yeah, it's a lengthy scene.
It was originally 10 actors writing it.
Oh wow!
And then they did it to 6 to tie in with the film's title.
Oh, I didn't even. I made those
10
5
would be
connection.
too many.
Yeah,
10's too many.
6
was
perfectly
the perfect
paced.
number.
It's so good.
Yeah,
genuinely
incredible.
And then after that, we have my personal favorite non-trap scene in the entire series.
Oh man.
Which is another scene I think is genuinely pretty good.
Yeah.
It is insane, but it is very funny and pretty well executed. It's the what is it? Right now you're feeling helpless.
Yeah. You're
the voice
feeling
recorder
helpless
scene
right now or whatever.
Yeah, right now you're feeling helpless, which of course is just a very good line to be playing in the background of this entire scene, because it's the scene where Perez and what's his name, the other guy, are like, they suspect Hoffman. They don't have any hard evidence to go off of, so they're they're
like, this is gonna be the smoking gun. They're like doing the anti-Hoffman thing. Like they're being just as obvious as Hoffman, but in the opposite direction of being like, we know it's you, buddy.
Yeah, they essentially have him there so they can like arrest him immediately. Like that's the idea I get. Once the deciphering goes through. So as it's being like deciphered, you have Perez and everyone, kind of, showing their hand a bit, and the voice is going off in the background. And then just, poop hits the fan,
Yeah,
I'll say.
poop hits
the fan. Yeah, then he just like as soon as it's deciphered, he slashes the guy's neck, stabs like a power strip, which just somehow makes the entire power in the room go off. Kills Perez, kills the guy. It is an insane.
He
scene.
just takes them all out.
He takes them all out.
Incredible.
I
he
love
goes
it.
John Wick on him.
He does go John Wick. Not that the series is ever known for its action, but it is the best action scene for me. This is all I want to see is my man Hoffman going crazy.
Yeah.
And this is what I get.
And
out
it
of
delivers.
It delivers. It's so good. And then he burns the station down. It's
fantastic.
Very
sequence.
awesome. Love it. I love when he's like killing Perez and he's like, who else knows? Who else knows about me? She's like everyone. He's like, you lie, you effing lie.
You lie, you effing lie.
That scene. I don't know.
It's the beginning of Hoffman going full unhinged.
Yeah.
Which he just turns into Saw Joker by the last movie. Just a maniac.
I love it. It's so good. And then before we get to the twist, I wrote down here. I alluded to this in the previous part of our retrospective, but this is where Hoffman, it's revealed that Hoffman told Amanda to basically overreact in Saw 3. He blackmailed her because he knew that she was involved in Jill's baby dying. But apparently Jigsaw didn't know that. So he was going to threaten to tell Jigsaw if she didn't do this thing. But he knew that if she did this thing that she was going to die. So it's essentially this convoluted way to get her to die in Saw 3.
Yeah, because she has to. He makes her shoot that one guy.
Yeah, shoot Lynn.
Shoot Lynn.
Yeah,
yeah.
Which then the guy comes in and shoots her.
Yeah,
yeah. So it's another great example of the rewriting in the series. Which honestly, for me, I mentioned in Saw 3, I did have a problem with how Amanda was acting in that movie. I think it's a good way of a little good way of explaining it a bit for me. So it fixes it a bit.
Yeah, sure.
It's still stupid.
Yeah.
But
I have Strom's handwritten here, so I'm guessing this is when it's revealed that he pries it off the thing and uses it for, or maybe he just shows him use it for everything.
Well, I think Strom's hand, I feel like he had used it before, but before he burns down the building, he puts his fingerprints everywhere.
That's true.
So that might be why you wrote that.
Yeah, he just gets out, starts touching everything.
Like I said, it's funny how gently he caresses people's face with his hand.
Just talk to me. Talk to me, Strom.
Talk to me, Strom. But then
I knew it was you. I knew it. I think Strom would have been great as, or Bob Odenkirk would have been great as Strom.
That would have been good.
Yeah.
That was pre Bob Odenkirk doing a lot of dramatic acting, though.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Anyway,
the twist.
I've been talking a lot, Jimmy. If you want to explain the twist, you certainly can.
Well, we have to say Roderick is in this
yes,
movie
we
from
forgot
Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Is the kid, and then the twist at the end, of course, is that the family is not the wife and the son; it's his sister who's the reporter.
Yeah.
Great misdirect.
It's so good.
I had seen this once before, like 5 years ago. Did not remember the twist. Incredible twist. Just completely blindsiding.
And there is rewatching it, knowing it, there is a lot of foreshadowing in it. It is, if you rewatch it, you're like, okay, I can see how this can all be interpreted different ways, or how there's a scene you may not notice the first time through. They set it up really well. It is genuinely very good. The family's we're here because your father or whatever.
Yeah. And then it goes back to the the scene, that scene with the dad getting rejected for insurance is so, it doesn't stand out because it seems like it's just a character development scene. For we're just establishing he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
But it's oh no, it is dual purpose, which is very creative and clever. And again, I think these films deserve more credit. How is this a 30 on Metacritic? It's way better than that.
It is. I think so too. But then, the final, he's like, oh, it's not my game, it's theirs. Which that line doesn't make any sense to me. Like, like you've been going through all this, dude. Like it is your game, even though they kind of have the final say. But yeah, then they're unsure. The mom's like, I'm not gonna stoop to your level and kill you. And then Roderick's like, F that.
I will do it.
I'll
He killed
do it.
that. He killed my dad.
He killed my dad. I think I have wrote down exactly what he says. Oh, you killed my father, you mother effer. Like he yells that.
Gets acid.
Oh my god, that's one of my favorite deaths in terms of just gruesomeness.
Yeah.
Like it is one of the grossest deaths. Just his entire insides just disintegrate, splits in half, melts. It's so gross.
Why did the sister need to be there?
I think it's because like his motivation was his family
to get back to his family, right?
So,
yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's why.
Yeah. So
you'll never see your family again.
Yeah. Otherwise, yeah, it's a good thing. It's a good thing that was his motivation. Otherwise, it would literally just be for the twist, or whatever. But yeah. I called this one. I think maybe I used this one later too. I called it acid reflux. I think I used this one in Jigsaw as well. I forgot I wrote that one down.
Nice.
But yeah. And then we have Hoffman. How the movie ends for him. Jill puts him in a upgraded reverse bear trap.
Yep.
And he escapes.
He smashes his hand to break free.
Yeah, which that hurts to watch. That's yeah. And then he slams his head through the window. It gets caught in the bars like halfway open.
Yeah.
That's
And then he rips his cheek out of it and he looks like the Joker.
Yeah.
Sewing himself. It literally is the Joker.
That happens in 7 when he sews it up. But yeah, it ends it. I love that. Might be my favorite final shot of the series, if I'm being honest. Yeah. I like. Don't get me wrong. I love all the game over stuff, but him just like with the cheek like open screaming, it's so good. And this has one of my favorite just renditions of the Hello Zep theme too. I think it's really fun to re-listen to it too, because this one lines up so like I can see everything that's happening in like the last 10 minutes. Because this arrangement's like 6 minutes long. I can see everything that's happening, like the twist and like. It's so good. Yeah.
This is one of the best ones.
It is.
Bar none.
Oh my gosh. I love this movie. I like this movie. I'm tempted to say it's one of my favorite movies. I wouldn't say like top 10 probably, but like it is a movie.
Yeah, imagine having a Saw movie in your top 10 favorite movies. It'd be embarrassing.
Do you have yours first in top 10?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I'm not sure I'd say it's top 10 for me, but like it is it's a movie that I think about constantly. And like those last 30 minutes, especially, like I always want to go rewatch it. Like I could put this on anytime and just watch it. It really
is. It is endlessly
so funny
and entertaining and so well paced, incredibly well paced. It does not slow down like whatsoever.
No, it doesn't.
And like you said, the last 30 minutes is super entertaining.
It is.
Like start to finish. Enthralling, legitimately well done, and just absurd off the rails Saw also.
It is, yeah. Let me try to run through, see any of the notes I missed here. I wrote here in all caps, I love Hoffman mumbling through a scene. Does that a lot. So
yeah, he
that's
does. He's from New Zealand, Costas Mandalore.
Is he?
Yeah.
You should double check that. I feel like I saw, he is from somewhere else, but I can't remember. It might not be New Zealand because I remember you saying that.
Well, maybe I'm wrong.
He's Australia.
Melbourne. Well, I was way off.
Way off. Yeah, you don't want Australians to get here. You're getting them confused.
Whoa!
Look at him.
Looking wild in 2013. What does he look like now?
I guess we'll see in this week.
Maybe.
Maybe. We'll see. I guess unless he's de-aged or something. Assuming he's an X, we think he is. Anyway, let's see here. I just wrote down Tobin Bell is really good. I think this is another movie.
You actually have Tobin Bell is so effing good.
Yeah, but I'm not going to say it because I know you're going to bleep me if I say it.
Yeah. This is already going to be a long thing for me to edit, but I've got some trivia while you're going through that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Again, IMDb. A week before filming began, director Kevin Grudert was informed that the film would be post-converted to 3D. He was upset at this decision as he hadn't planned or storyboarded for such a move. The idea was dropped for this installment due to time constraints, but resurrected for the next film in the film series SAW 3D from 2010, which, as we all know, was a great decision to do that.
Yeah. Well, honestly, good on, I don't know if it was him that was able to, stop it from happening, but good on him or whoever who was able to, not just have it be a week before. Yeah. That would have been a mess.
Director Kevin Grudert mentioned in the commentary track that the twitching and shivering Amanda does in her scene with Cecil was real due to low temperatures and rain in Toronto at the time of filming. Shawnee couldn't stop shivering because she was so cold and they were shooting outdoors.
That makes me... Okay, I hadn't really thought about it. I should watch these with commentary. I think these would be so interesting with commentary. I don't do that a ton, but yeah, these would be really fun movies to watch.
Cecil, of course, being the character that kills Jill Tuck's daughter in Jigsaw's. Lowest grossing Saw film.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Even though it is one of the best.
Yeah, and I wonder if that played a role into how SAW VII was made.
Okay, so actually it does. I can get into that right now for a bit. I do know this. So Saw, by this point, it was, yearly thing.
Or does this have to do more with SAW VI or SAW VII? So did we save it for the SAW VII conversation?
It kind of has to do with both. I guess we could wait for SAW VII.
Let's just wait for SAW VII.
That's fine. I kind of did go through a lot of my notes for this one. I was trying.
Well, it has been 37 minutes, so
yes,
unbelievable.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty good with this.
There we go.
My favorite Saw movie. So yeah.
We'll get to our rankings.
We'll get to rankings. I showed my hand with this one in the first part, so I'm going to reveal that here. We know what your first is.
Yeah, you know what my top couple are.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about SAW 7/3D/ the final chapter.
Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it. Right after this.
All right.
I'm glad you itched your nose right at the moment we needed to edit that. So.
Oh, yeah. That's good.
So, thank you for that.
Of course.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. You could just cut out a little bit there.
It would be very awkward, I think.
Okay.
So we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see how it looks.
Anyway, SAW 7, SAW 3D, SAW the final chapter. I'll get into what I was going to talk about in SAW 6.
Yes.
So these movies were coming
Spoilers
out yearly.
Again,
yes.
In case you jump to this.
Yeah, spoilers again for SAW 7. So SAW 6 was a little bit lower grossing. The fact I saw in there, I think that was domestic because I feel like worldwide it did break 100 mil. I could be wrong, but regardless, it was the lowest grossing. And around this time was when Paranormal Activity had started, and those movies, started coming out almost yearly as well. And so the producers for this kind of SAW 6. Going down as kind of as like a response to Paranormal Activity coming out around the same time, and they're like, okay, Saw's maybe waning in popularity. Saw Paranormal Activity is the next big thing. Let's wrap it up with the next one.
Okay,
that was kind of the idea. So they're like, we're going to cut our losses, even though SAW 6 still made a lot of money compared to its budget. They're like, we're seeing diminishing returns. Let's stop it before we actually lose money on a movie.
Yeah.
And which I'm not sure they ever would with how low budget these are. Like that seems unlikely, but regardless, they wanted to finish it up. So that's why we have SAW 3D as the final chapter here. Which this movie is,
this is a parody of Saw movies.
I don't know what this one's like a weird one to talk about. It's gonna be a fun one to talk about. It's directed by the same guy, Kevin Grudert.
Which is, when I found that out, my brain exploded.
Yeah,
I could not believe it. SAW 6 is like maybe the most well done Saw. And this is by far the worst.
I think
worst made Saw.
Yeah, I think if you were to look at this and look at it more critically, this is the worst made Saw movie out of all of them. It is still absurdly hilarious, though.
So funny.
It's so funny. This is.
Oh my goodness, is this one of the most hilarious movies I've ever seen?
Yeah. It is, spoiler alert. This is not at the bottom of my ranking, even though it is maybe the worst one.
Very entertaining.
Yeah. It is. It's so. I don't know. It's just so weird. I think. Given how well SAW 6 was made, I would think there's studio interference here. I would think.
Or just like constant rewrites.
Yeah.
Which,
as we saw earlier with that quote, it does happen with these movies, but yeah, I don't know. It just feels like there was a lot more constant tampering with this one than even the previous.
This movie, I don't know what cameras they use for this. This movie looks like crap.
It does.
It looks terrible. There is digital noise throughout, and it must have something to do with the 3D camera they were using.
Yeah.
It is awful. This movie looks like a film student project.
It does. It's funny. So I actually watched this with someone who has never seen another Saw movie in their life.
Oh my gosh.
And I had warned them of this. I was like, this is the 7th one. The plot is really convoluted. Do you want to do it? He's like, yes. And I'm like, and so we go in, and I'm like, I'm watching it. I'm like, whatever with the plot. He came in knowing this, but it is very interesting. Like he was commenting on how badly it was shot. I'm like, the other movies don't look like fantastic, but I swear they do not look this bad.
This looks terrible.
Yeah, it's. Yeah, it must be the 3D cameras, as you said.
Well, the sets look worse, too. Everything looks really cheap. The acting is atrocious.
Yeah, pretty much across the board. I would say still, like, the victims are decent for the most part.
I don't know. Let's see.
I don't know.
The main, you know what? The main two victims are good, I would say. I would agree.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd agree. Yeah.
Everybody else. Pretty bad.
What an awful poster. Have you seen this?
Yeah, I have seen that. Who are they making in that?
I think that's Jigsaw.
Yeah, it's terrible.
That is a terrible post. I remember seeing that when it first came out. I was like, and this is before I knew anything about Saw. I was like, what? This is so weird. Why is this a big man? Like, it's being constructed. You should edit in the SAW 3D poster.
I'm not going to.
Okay. Look up the SAW 3D
SAW
poster.
3D poster, the one where they're constructing a man.
So budget of 17 million here. How does that compare to the previous one?
I think it was 11 million, I think, for like SAW 6.
So it has even a higher budget, but yeah, it does just look way worse. Which is that's crazy. Let's see here. Yeah, 11 million. Oh, it did only make 69 million.
Nice.
6 did. Anyway. Nice. Anyway, yeah, looks way worse. Insane. Don't know how that happened. I guess 3D cameras, but that can't explain the sets. I don't know. It was
no Avatar.
No.
From the year before.
That's true. Kevin Gruchert, I don't think edited this one either. So that might be part of it. Like, he's been the editor on all of these movies.
Is there an edit that can save this movie?
I am not sure. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, its problems
unless
outweigh
it's like
that.
He's looking at the dailies and like, oh, this doesn't work. We got to try this again.
Yeah.
Wow. Let's talk about this movie. First off, starts with the bang of Dr.
Gordon's back.
He's alive. He cauterizes his wound on a pipe.
Mm-hmm. Which, how hot would that pipe have to be to cauterize a wound on?
Very hot.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But yeah, I think before we get into the play-by-play, Dr. Gordon coming back, I think was entirely just like to bookend the series, right?
It's somehow Palpatine has returned.
Yeah,
which is, give Saw credit. How did they not address? I mean, it was a legal thing, right? He didn't feel like he got
didn't get properly paid or
properly
something?
compensated, I think, for his royalties out the first one. So it was like a big disagreement. But incredible that they did not touch upon the Dr. Gordon storyline for 5 sequels in between.
And I don't know what interview it is. I can't credit it, but I have seen clips of like interviews he gave for this movie. And he said something to the extent of one of the reasons he came back was because he realized he was only well known for The Princess Bride and Saw. He's like, you know what, I'll come back. And there's another interview, I think it's a different one, where people are like quizzing him on what traps like are from which movies.
Yeah.
They're like, so, which one's the carousel one from? And he's like, he just doesn't know, which is fair.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I
don't watch these movies.
I cut my foot off in the first one. Okay.
I'm feeling a little delirious.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, we have him cauterizing his wound, and then we immediately go into a trap, which I just call public mutilation.
I call my girlfriend is a buzzsaw.
All right, that's pretty good.
I thought this. I legitimately thought this was just like a gag, like a show, like a street performance.
Oh yeah,
I did not think this was a real trap for a second until the girl was like, until it cut to the titles.
Okay, like this trap.
I was like, well, that would be a little bit hard to fake, but I guess you could still do it. I just thought it, like the way it was acted, it being just in public and people watching.
This trap is one of the few I actually knew about going into this series, because I just remember it being, it's like in public, which is so weird. And it's like such a different setting. It's bizarre.
In the daytime.
In the daytime. How did anyone set this up without anyone knowing?
And it was Hoffman, I guess?
Yeah, I think it was Hoffman. That's the thing. This trap doesn't really connect to anything. Like,
it's just like we need a trap at the beginning.
Yeah, that's literally it. We have these two guys who, as far as I know, like neither of them have done anything, and the only thing the girl has done is cheated on each of them. And cheating is bad and everything, but like, does it call for this big public display like of a saw trap? It's very bizarre. I don't know. It's like, it seems almost more cruel to have, these people watching. People are trying to smash the windows and everything they can. It's like plexiglass probably or something. It's so weird. But I kind of like it a lot.
It's hilarious.
I think what this movie does is this movie is basically just like nonstop traps. I think more so than like any other of the Saw movies. Like,
it's a parody of the Saw.
It is. And I think most of the traps are fairly solid in this, but I think like this one is just so funny to me. And then like it literally the last line of it is like, I think we're breaking up with you or whatever. Like, I can't remember the girl's name, but
see, that's why I thought it was like literally scripted dialogue. I thought it was like self-aware scripted dialogue of these street performances. It's like, oh, we got him, and then Jigsaw is like, oh, you can't be mocking me like that in public, and I'm going to humiliate you and stuff.
Honestly, a Saw movie that like does a Scream parody of its own concept would be kind of funny. Like, man, I'd kind of be into that.
I feel like this is what that is, essentially.
Yeah, it feels like that.
Hoffman stitches up his face.
He does. Looks like Joker.
Yes, he does. You want to know I got these scars.
And then he's just out of the movie for a lot of it.
For a long time, until he's hunting down Jill Tuck.
Yeah, I love that his motivation in this is to just get Jill. He's just getting
to
revenge
murder the crap out of Jill.
Just wants to kill her. But I like, I've always talked about how much I love Hoffman, and I think like 5 and 6, one of what makes those work is he's in it so much. And this, he's just like takes a back seat, which is weird because this is like supposed to be wrapping up everything. And instead, you introduce like new characters in this last movie, and we're just like
a new detective,
new detective guy,
Gibson, incredible,
a great performance,
detective,
Oscar-winning.
You know what I thought this whole time?
What?
I was like, this would be so funny. Like this guy gave me Ryan Gosling straight face comedy vibes.
Well, yeah, I mentioned to you when right before this we were rewatching a particular scene we'll talk about in a second, and there's some like freeze frame. He looks like Ryan Gosling. He looks sometimes
like his straight face delivery, like when he's trying to, it's like Ryan Gosling's funny delivery mode. And I'm like, this would be so funny if this was Ryan. I mean, it was funny regardless.
It was.
But it's like they got discount Ryan Gosling to play this role, and he is horrible. And his writing is terrible. It is so funny. Oh my goodness.
I did not remember this character at all. I've seen this movie at least
How
2
could
times
you
prior.
not?
I don't know. I do not remember this character at all. He was introduced. I'm like, who is this guy? I've never seen him before.
He is a parody of the detective character in Saw movies.
And he has one of the greatest scenes in all of this series. Should we talk about it now? Or should we wait?
I think we should wait a little bit. We need to talk about one of the other greatest scenes in the series, which is Jill Tuck's dream. Yes. Where she is kidnapped by Hoffman and like tied to like a train yard thing or something. Mm-hmm. And then Hoffman just has this, what do you even call that?
Like what he's wearing?
No, his thing that he launches at her.
It's like on a rail, like a weird little...
Like a battering ram.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to put it. Battering ram thing. But with a spike on the end.
And it just
obliterates her.
She literally explodes when it hits her. And I giggled. I could not believe that just happened. And it turns out it didn't. But it was so funny. Oh my gosh. I had to go back and watch it again. I literally paused and went back.
It almost would have been funnier if she just died there. Like that's just how she died.
I think that would have been so funny. Oh my god!
But I think is that where Hoffman says the line like, you know, the worst thing about killing you, Jill, is I can only do it once or something. It is like I get that Jill tried to kill Hoffman, but like his pure like rage vendetta against her in this movie is so funny.
He could just get away with it and like move somewhere, but he's like, no, I got to kill Jill. That should be the name of this movie is Kill Jill.
Kill Jill. I also, I didn't write it down here, but I do remember there's the one scene, I think it's after he stitches up his face where he's like burning his IDs and stuff. And he's just like clearly showing the camera what he's burning.
See, I laughed at that too. And Emily's like, because I somehow got my wife to watch 6 and 7 with me. Unbelievable. She's like, why is that so funny? I'm like, I don't even know. It just is.
He's just like he's like stop. He's like, here's my police ID. Here's my driver's license.
My social security card.
He's burning it off.
He like flips over his credit card to show his 3-digit security code.
Here's that. There you go. It's burning. So funny.
Oh my gosh! And then we have the racist car trap. Racist trap. Do you have a funny name for this one?
Yes. No. With this one, and especially Jigsaw, my notes are very spotty because I just got very invested in the movie. I don't think I even wrote down this one, but this is maybe the grossest Saw trap of them all. I remember this one very vividly. Like this is when I think of Saw 7, this is the trap I think of, honestly.
Yeah.
It is disgusting.
I still think of Jill Tuck just exploding in that.
It is that's
but
great.
This is hilarious too. And it just is a Rube Goldberg machine.
It is.
Like I was waiting for it to like start a Keurig machine at the end of this thing. Like just like, all right, it starts and it goes on the face of the wheel. The wheel goes on her face and drives. And I don't even remember all the stuff that happened.
Yeah.
But my goodness.
So the guy, his like back is like glued, like essentially
he's got
fused.
Tear off his skin.
Yeah,
good trap for a racist.
It is. Yeah, it actually is. I hadn't thought of that.
And Hoffman, for not being a good engineer, he engineered the crap out of this trap. Yeah, man, 10 out of 10.
You know what? He just learned from the best.
He
wasn't really the best at first, but as soon as Jigsaw told him to use a certain type of grease on those gears, he became a genius.
Yeah, and it just shows that the expert always starts as a beginner, in any field.
Yes, and so he has to tear off his back and everything, which is disgusting. And those effects are very good. I was like, that's so gross. He has to pull the lever, which that's all he has to do, really. Like, and I get that it's very painful, but literally he has to do one thing to get out of this and save everyone, and he just doesn't do it.
He gets close.
He does.
I just turned to Emily a couple times. I'm like, I think he's just gonna miss out. Like he's just gonna
miss out.
Not quite gonna get there. Which I love. This movie, it's like everything's within like 1 second.
It really is, yeah.
Doesn't quite get it.
But yeah, her head getting crushed, the guy's like jaw and limbs getting ripped off, and then the one guy just gets like run into, which is like that's like the least.
Someone like flies through a windshield, right?
I think that's the guy in the car. because the car runs out, and I think when it crashes, he flies out.
Does something explode yet?
No, not yet. The explosion comes later. Don't worry.
I rewound that one and watched that one again, I think, too.
Which the whole purpose of this
No,
trap...
I don't think I did. I think I just watched it the one time.
The whole purpose of this trap was to essentially draw the police out, but it doesn't make any sense to me because that's also where Hoffman's station is. Like it's not even like a fake like setup or anything. Like genuinely, that's where he's working from, and he ends up timing everything perfectly, which is fine. That happens all the time in these movies. But he why doesn't he just set up like a fake room there or something to like lead the police to believe he's there and work from a different location? That doesn't make any sense to me. He could just get caught, but he doesn't.
We have the survivor meetings, Holden.
Yes.
Which like clearly from the beginning, I'm like, this guy's just making up this story about this happening to him.
Yeah. It is kind of like, and that kind of feeds into the idea that this could be a Saw parody. Is like, this would be a very interesting, just a guy who's like, completely faking it and everything. That would be a very interesting, I think that would be an interesting concept for a movie like that. But yeah, he's just faking it.
His character, like that whole arc worked better than I thought it was going to. Like, I think that character and that performance was pretty good. I thought the wife's character was pretty good. Yeah. Even though she did not deserve anything again. No. Just horrible death for her. We'll get there in a second. Hoffman's setting these up, but like clearly this is one that was, planned by Jigsaw from the start. Like, so Jigsaw was just killing this lady. Yeah. Believe me, I have an ex-wife. I will do that to her.
The meetings, you have the return of the guy from 5. The secretary from 6 is
the old lady.
Yeah, the old lady.
The gosh darn arm girl's back.
Oh,
She's
yeah,
like,
that's right.
The best thing that happened to me since I cut off my arm, handicap parking at the dang mall.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. I didn't write that down. That's very funny. Yep. He gives a speech, very inspirational, and then Carrie Elway's just in the back.
Good. I like his voice. He's just doing a voice.
He's just doing a completely different voice.
That must be so good for you. We get to be part of your documentary or whatever he says.
The only way the twist in this movie works and like people don't see it coming is because Carrie Elwes is just not in it very much. Like I like the person I was watching it with, like, didn't even pick up on that. Like he was and like was genuinely surprised that he was like the twist or whatever. But, like he's so like villainous in that scene. Oh, yeah. Like if he was in more than just that scene in the very beginning and the end, like it would be very obvious. But I think they just keep him,
Yeah, I wish I had already known what the twist was. Mm-hmm. It would have been amazing to just go in not knowing Carrie Elwes was in this.
That would have been great. Yeah.
But I'm sure he was in a trailer or something when this came out.
Yeah. I mean, he was doing interviews for it, so yeah.
But then the game begins. And he starts in that cage, and there's the spikes underneath it, and I'm just like, just drop down in between the spikes.
Yeah, it doesn't seem that hard.
But then he like swings and lands on his back, and
I mean, he didn't hurt himself, which is, I guess, good at least. I was fully expecting him to just like, stab a shoulder or something,
Yeah.
But I don't know. Doesn't happen. The game doesn't happen until like 30 minutes into the movie or something. It's like very late, and then they like start rapid firing these traps. And for all this movie's faults, it's not slow paced at all. It breezes by, but yeah,
it's great.
It is great.
It's wonderful. I have Safe House written down.
I do
here,
too.
So this is when
this is the great
Gibson
scene we alluded to earlier.
I got a hair in my mouth.
How did that happen? Yeah, Gibson is. We talked about how poor his acting is, but it is at its worst here by far. It is so funny. He is like. I'm glad you liked this scene as much as I did.
Emily and I were dying.
We were
funny. Laughing so hard.
He's with Jill in the safe house they're putting her in to protect her from Hoffman.
Well, he comes in and he gets the reverse bear trap.
Yeah.
He's like,
"That's your design or your husband's?"
Your husband's. like my husband's or whatever. He's like, or whatever. Most of the good designs are, or whatever she says.
Yeah.
It's like, whatever, crazy. And he starts just calling
Crazy.
it crazy. And they like ends the sentence like, oh, so what's the deal? Crazy.
Jill's like wants to leave or whatever. He's like, can't leave, Jill, or whatever he said. It's a safe house.
She's like, are you sure I'll be safe? I'll be protected in here?
Oh,
He
yeah.
won't be able to get me? Safe house, Jill. Safe house. Safe house.
It's called a safe house.
Got it? You got that? You got it? He says safe house 3 times.
He does. It's so funny.
And then immediately, I'm not like immediately. That is not a hyperbole. Immediately, there's like the whatever. His like assistant comes in and she's like, Detective Gibson, this has been mailed to this address. Hoffman's figured out where we are. It's like, gosh dang it, God dang it.
And then there's also the bit, I can't remember what line it follows, or it might have been the crazy line where he just turns around, he's like, ugh. He brushes his hair back. Like,
it is so funny.
It's, yeah.
If you want a glimpse of it, just look up SAW 3D like safe house, and there's a little clip of it, and it only has like 200 views.
Yeah.
And it's like 3 years old. You need to watch this. It is so funny.
Yeah. It's that is the funniest part of the movie for me.
It is up there with like moments from The Room of just like, this is hilarious.
I can't believe they took that take.
I
Those
cannot.
takes. It's so funny.
And then the next note I have, as if that wasn't enough, is Tobin Bell backwards hat.
Yeah. So I have that a little bit later.
Okay.
But we can talk about it.
No, you can go to the next. We can go chronologically.
I think I have after that what I call the itchy throat trap.
Okay, which one's this one?
That's the first trap within the game where they're
she's got
hook.
Ouch.
Which, gosh, this is a trap that they do it a couple other times in the series, but it's like just an expert case of like less is more, I think, and a lot of it where it like you just know that it's painful. Like the sound design is really good and everything. You don't see much aside from at like the very end when it gets fully yanked out and everything. It's that, oh my gosh, just imagine having a fishhook lodged down there. And then the guy has the very funny line. You just had to shut up. Why didn't you shut up or whatever? Because the whole concept is whenever she screams, the spikes move. Yeah.
Which is a great like sound design, creative thing to do.
Because
it was a very different feeling saw.
Because it was like very quiet.
Because normally it's
really
loud
music.
and crazy editing, and it's like it's just not at all.
Yeah,
it's
the
quiet.
only noise was really the screaming, and it was very good.
It harkens back to the breathing one from SAW 6.
Yeah, it does.
What do you call that one again?
Short of breath, I think.
Short of breath. Yeah.
And then I think, I wrote down Hoffman's ultimatum tape, but I don't think there was, aside from just him mumbling, which I always love, I don't think there's really anything particularly
Go
funny on
beyond
that.
the horizon or whatever to the clear dawn or whatever he says.
Something
just
weird like
the
that.
stupidest effing stuff I've ever heard in my life.
Give me Jill talking, the game stops.
Oh my
motivation.
gosh.
But then, we
Tobin Bell backwards hat, which I thought that was only a spiral thing. No, it's not.
It's pretty iconic for this movie. People
Incredible.
love backwards cap Jigsaw. It's so like just make him look younger. Just put on a backwards baseball cap.
You know, the ancient Egyptians like would be thrown in the rock quarry or whatever he starts saying. I cannot verify that.
Well, he's just saying something. He's like clearly just
accusing him of being a big liar.
Yeah, he's like, what? The guy's like, what are you accusing me of? And the guy's like, Jigsaw's like, nothing. You're just a liar.
He's like,
he's not saying that. But.
He's like, what are you implying? He's like, nothing. I'm not implying anything. I'm like, you clearly implying that. Like, you clearly are doing that, Jigsaw.
Tobin Bell, just my gosh, I want to know how like aware Tobin Bell is of how silly like that is, like the backwards baseball cap. Like I know he loves playing, John Kramer and everything. I'm sure he understands the movies are silly, but how aware is he?
I don't know.
How genuinely, and regardless, I love his commitment. Doesn't matter.
Incredible. Next up, I got the 3 spikes into face trap.
I called it see no evil, speak no evil.
Well, yeah. Well, that's what this whole theme was. So this,
I know,
no evil, speak
which
no
I
evil,
didn't. They didn't mention that until later, and then I had written this down before, so I felt smart.
Okay. Well, I had said 3 spikes into face trap, and
That's
smart.
a better name. I like that name.
It's more straight to the point.
It is.
And straight to the face.
Yeah.
in the eyes and the mouth or whatever it was.
Which this is the one he has to like lift it up to stop it, which
I'm like for 30 I'm like I feel like adrenaline could take over for 30 seconds.
Yeah,
and
that doesn't seem that bad to me. This trap is kind of to me. Like it is. I think the death effects when it gets stabbed, it looks very good, very gross and everything.
Very tasteful.
Yeah, very tasteful. And it is like, I mean, they do a good job of like, the spikes. That's the 3D coming at you.
Yeah.
Which we should talk about that.
Oh, we will.
3D effects.
Oh, we will get to the 3D. I mean, the iconic shot at the end.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We'll get to it. But yeah, it's gruesome, but I feel like the movie peaks with its traps pretty early on.
Yeah. Next thing I have is hanging plank trap.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I have. The only thing I have here I mentioned earlier is I don't like how little of Hoffman we're getting, but
No.
Yeah. I call this one Blind Man Walking.
Okay. Walk the plank.
Yeah, that's good too. That's probably better.
See no plank. Hear no plank.
Speak no plank.
Yeah, this one was interesting. He's got to guide him. I feel like it would not be that hard to find the planks.
No.
With your feet.
Yeah.
I guess, and they're not like that narrow, so.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, he does find him. He's clearly shuffling around. But this is a great example of what I was
just freaking out.
Yeah, freaking out, just screaming. Like, yeah, you can't see. I understand that, but you're not like, as far as I can tell, you're not hurting. Aside from that, you're not like in immediate danger or anything. Like, why are you freaking out?
And he starts freaking out immediately. Like when he comes in the room, he's just standing there.
It's like what's the deal with it? What's the deal in these Saw movies with like there's that other trap in like 4 or whatever where the guys like can't see and he just immediately starts freaking out.
Yeah.
Which that one I get a little bit more. There's a bit more immediate danger there, but
isn't that one like see no evil, speak no evil? Is that what they call that one?
Oh, you might be right.
I feel like that's like the official name of that trap.
Okay, that's smarter. That was before I was naming them, so I forgot. But yeah, it's just anytime people can't see in these movies, they are just completely helpless. There's nothing they can do. They're freaking out.
Oh man. And he throws the key and he just can't catch it. Why would I don't know. That too hard.
It is, yeah, it's very hard. I get it. It's not too hard to walk across, but yeah, I don't know how you're supposed to get the key to him in enough time.
He's got to have like a dish or something that he can catch it in, A
little bowl he's holding. With it, it's got like the spiral.
And then they give him like 60 seconds again.
Yeah, not enough time. Also, just clearly way longer than 60 seconds.
Yeah, and then like one of the boards breaks.
Yeah, that's not fair.
Yeah, I thought you were an engineer, Jigsaw.
Yeah, why don't you nail those boards down? Get some sturdy 2x4s or something. I don't know.
That's what I say. Why don't you get some sturdy 2x4s? Hoffman kills a homeless guy. I have. That note when they're like,
oh yeah,
they're like going through the backstory and the Hoffman just shoots that one guy.
So I didn't. Okay, so the history. Once again, I forgot about Gibson. So I'm trying to put this together. So
I would have completely forgotten about that part if I didn't write that down.
Yeah, I would have too if you hadn't mentioned it. I don't think I even wrote it down. So Gibson and Hoffman, they have history. Gibson was attacked by a homeless man.
Hoffman shoots him, and then Gibson like turns him in, but then Hoffman just gets promoted.
Hoffman just gets promoted. And then like I don't understand like their. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. They're like history. Like, yeah, I guess Hoffman's angry at Gibson because Gibson ratted on him, even though Hoffman ended up getting promoted because of it. It's so weird. I don't know. It's very funny though.
I think Hoffman likes killing people.
I think so too. Yeah, me too.
That's what it sounds to.
Let's see what else. I have a guy pulling his teeth out.
Oh yeah. I'm like, all things considered, not that bad.
Not that bad.
Emily was like really cringing. I'm like, it's real that one.
Well, I was like,
it's only 2.
I was like, what are the like, what if he just pulled out the wrong teeth? I don't.
Well, he labeled them.
He labeled, but if I recall correctly, it wasn't like very clear. Like it could have. It to me, it looked like it could have been like any of the back few. Like I didn't feel like it was very clearly labeled to me. I could be wrong with that, but I was like, I mean, lucky he pulled out the exact right too. But regardless, yeah, not that bad.
So if he just dies, then does his wife just die?
I guess.
Yikes.
That's kind of cruel.
Yeah.
I mean, she dies anyway. But
I mean, yeah, she does. Horrible, gruesome.
I don't
death.
think he dies.
No, he doesn't.
That's kind of effed up.
Yeah. Well, I guess he's grateful to be alive now, huh?
I guess so.
Okay. So, yeah. After that, we got a lot of things going on here.
So I didn't write this down. This is actually the part of the movie I have the least notes on, but I do want to say this is another movie where I think the last 30 minutes is a lot of fun. It's unlike Saw 6, the rest of the movie just doesn't compare like to me.
Yeah.
Even though it is still very funny. It's still a very enjoyable movie, but I really do like the last third of this movie a lot. Cuz you have the final trap with the guy, which is, I mean, it's obvious they're going to do it, but it is still great that they're having him do the very thing that he claimed he did.
Which is like, you see it coming. Like,
yeah.
it's going to happen.
But it is still effective. That one hurts to like watch.
Yeah. And I'm like, this is totally going to just, like, it's going to just rip out of him. Like, I'm like, this is going to happen.
Well, so the other thing I noticed about this scene, not that I think it would really change the outcome at all, but why does he take off his shirt? Because like, I'm not that I think, fabric shirt is going to hold, but it's not going to hurt.
I guess it just I mean, he wants to get him right where his other scars are, maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know. I feel like it's a one fewer layer you have to worry about puncturing. Like when they do surgery, they don't leave your clothes on.
Yeah, but I don't know. I guess for this one, I'm just like, the shirt can't possibly hinder. It could only help this trap, I would think, aside from maybe the visuals.
I'm wondering why couldn't he just like pull himself up on one of the ropes?
That's true. Is there any reason why he can't do that?
Like, can't he just like stand on it and just pull himself up? Right.
Pull up and yeah. And
like, couldn't he just hold on to the hook and? I don't know.
I'm not sure there is any reason why he can't do that.
No, but maybe he's just not smart enough.
I don't know. Regardless, it is. I think it's an effective final trap.
Yeah.
Especially just for his story and everything.
And what a fall.
Yeah. Oh God. And not only does it rip out, which just looks horrible, and he crashes to.
He would have done it too.
Yeah.
Poor guy. Really wanted to save his wife.
And
Seemed like a nice lady.
She gets put in the brazen bowl.
Yeah. Okay. Cow oven.
Which I think it's so funny. Like it just like forms up around her. That's like CG. That's like the one.
Yeah.
That's like the one trap that I'm like, that's just straight up CG.
Yeah. Did you have a name for this one?
No, I didn't write it down. I just call it the brazen bowl, probably.
Yeah.
Like the historical torture device.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Gibson gets mowed down in slow motion by a machine gun.
Yes.
Hilarious.
Walter White style.
Yeah, Walter White style, indeed.
Yeah, precedes the Breaking Bad ending. If you think about it, Breaking Bad stole from Saw 3D.
Hoffman's in a body bag, comes out and stabs somebody.
I forgot that happened. And yeah, his rampage through the police station is hilarious.
He just goes on a killing
Michael
spree.
Myersing everyone, just stabbing everyone in the neck.
I was like, who is this mindless killing machine? I'm like, he's the Shape.
Yeah,
at the end of this.
He's just wandering through. And I talked about in the Saw 4 review, the way Hoffman walks, and I think it must just be how Costas Mandylor walks, is so funny. It's kind of a waddle, but it's very just like with purpose. It's like, I want to give the actor more credit, but it kind of just feels like he's directly walking to his next blocking like spot or something. It's like has such purpose with how he moves. It's almost robotic kind of, but I love it. So good.
Oh my goodness. Hoffman's killing spree. Joyce gets sizzled is how I described it. That was his wife in the brazen bowl.
Yes. Yeah.
And then Hoffman gets to Jill. He kills that lady and then like puts her face up to the window to get the guard
Knocks
door.
on the door.
Yeah. And then he just kills another guy, shoots the guy in the eye somehow. Again, like Gus Fring, like you mentioned, kind of looking. And then he puts the reverse bear trap on Jill.
Yes.
And you finally get the payoff of the reverse bear trap, which just
it's so good. I honestly like as you know, as I made fun of you know, or as I mentioned, you know, the dream earlier, if that was real, that would be really funny. Honestly, it is a pretty good payoff to just have the movie, you know, the last big major kill be the reverse bear trap, which has been the whole series, and have it be Jill, who is just a fairly unlikable character.
And
like,
she just turns into a demogorgon. Like there's a hole where her face is.
It's disgusting. And it
doesn't explode like the styrofoam does.
No. But I do like how I love him, like, you know, going for the newer reverse bear trap, and I'll go. They're just right next to each other. It's like, all right, I'll go.
It's
for
like
the
meme
one.
with the two red buttons and the guy sweating.
Goes for the old one. Then he packs himself a little to-go bag and is trying to leave town.
Burns it down.
But
But then he gets Dr. Gordon. It was Dr. Gordon the whole time.
Dr. Gordon's Jigsaw.
He put that eye behind that one, or put the key behind that guy's eye.
Yes.
He's like, we should get Dr. Lynn
Lynn
Denlin.
Denlin.
Like, what?
Yeah, for some reason I had remembered that the only involvement he had was like literally he was just involved as like a fail safe for Jill. So if someone kills Jill, then he essentially exacts revenge, which is his purpose here. But I thought that was his only extent of his involvement in these movies. But no, he's been involved this whole time.
Apparently.
And somehow Hoffman just doesn't know.
Or Amanda.
Or Amanda doesn't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
No one's
silly.
Yeah, no one's aware of his involvement.
Then he's like, he locks up Hoffman, grabs the saw. Oh, I don't think so.
Throws it
in 3D.
In 3D.
Incredible.
Oh my God. What I would have given to see this in theaters in 3D, Jimmy.
Game over.
Would you have seen this in 3D?
Sure. On a re-release? Let's do it.
All right. Well, if this, when it first came out, would you have seen, would you have gone to it in 3D?
I don't know.
Because I know you don't like
never
3D. I know you don't like 3D.
I never have.
Yeah.
Anti-3D.
Yeah, I would have seen a Saw movie in 3D. That's just
4D. You just get water splashed at you, but it's like colored.
Blood.
All right, we need to continue. I don't think we're gonna get to our last segment. Well, we need to talk about Jigsaw really fast.
Yes.
And then maybe have time for Saw rankings. We'll see. We are literally limited by technology at this point. So let's dive into Jigsaw.
Yeah.
Any final things to say about Saw 7?
No, it's
3D.
funny.
It's hilarious. It's not good. All right, Jigsaw.
All right, Jigsaw. It's kind of like it is a sequel, but not really connected. It's like it is connected because of Jigsaw himself, but I don't know. Came out 6 years after, 2017.
Yeah,
we saw this one in theaters. This is the first one we saw in theaters
and
saw it together.
Oddly, don't remember it that well.
Yeah, it's I'm that way too. I feel like I remembered it a little bit better just because I'd seen it a second time, but yeah.
Okay, this was I hadn't seen it since it was in theaters. Opens with like the chum bucket trap.
Well, it opens up with
the scene where he shoots the guy, but then it's kind of the chum bucket head trap.
Chum bucket trap.
That's what I think.
Yeah,
that's
it
what
does
people
look
have
like.
called it.
Yeah, it does look like the chum bucket heads, which is it's kind of a trap, but it like makes it like it. So this is supposed to be like his first game.
Okay,
I think that's what like the end is revealing. So the fact that it's just kind of meh, I guess makes sense, but also just kind of feels like a lazy way to make a bad
So
trap.
here's the thing with this movie is the traps aren't good, except I think like the shotgun trap at the very end is really good.
That is really good.
And I think all the other ones are not good.
I like the grain silo trap personally.
I don't. I think it's kind of dumb.
Oh, okay. That's fair. But yeah, aside from those two, I don't really care.
There's so many convenient things that happen in this, and we have to be a little abbreviated with this one just for the sake of time because we're limited here with our recording. So we'll literally hit a record limit and won't be able to go any longer. So we'll have to wrap this up in like 10 minutes. But there's like, he counts on that one. The one guy is the guy who breaks his, like, he breaks through and gets his leg trapped. Like that was the whole plan of that. And then they went into the silo and they did these exact same things in this order. And the other lady's not alive.
Also,
and like
the TVs are just like HD TVs.
Yeah,
Even though it's like
in the past.
In the past.
It doesn't really make sense. And then like the things like don't hit them in the face, even though there's a million things going on. And then they like open the silo and they're all fine, even though there's a bunch of sharp objects in there. And
I don't know.
The clean cut through his leg, and
it is, it's very silly, but I don't know. I kind of like it. And
even the vortex thing where it's like like the guy just gets cut up and slooped through the.
I think the setting being in a barn is fun. Yeah, like it is probably
in
for
the middle
me,
of nowhere. And all
that. It's one of the more iconic like settings for these movies because it does distinguish itself. And I guess it being in the middle of nowhere makes sense why no one has found it.
Yeah,
like no one knows what this is. But yeah, the traps the vortex one's kind of whatever.
I like the idea of using the motorcycle engine.
Yeah.
But let me assure you, this one's brakes do
Jigsaw's
work.
nephew that died on the motorcycle accident. Yeah. So yeah, the people all being there. I'm glad it wasn't just like they're all connected again or anything. It was just all people that had done what was the guy who lost his leg? What was his thing?
I cannot remember.
He like says something. He's like, I sold some coke, gave some bad deals. If that was just it, that was kind of lame. Like, I don't know. The other ones had a lot more interesting like reasons. The
lady, what's a life worth to you? She like stole $33.55, and then the lady died.
I didn't like the syringe in the neck thing. Like you figure out the number. Why do you not use that syringe? Yeah. They're just like freaking out, and then the stabs him with all three. And
that was silly.
It's so dumb
because it's clear to the audience what the answer is.
Yeah,
like why can't they just figure it out?
And like, if she found out if she thought of the 353, like I don't know, that would seem too big of a coincidence to me.
Also, the Billy the puppet just is better and has glowing eyes.
Yeah, it's more advanced.
Also at the end, like he recreated the games perfectly, so the exact same outcome happened, and he used their bodies and stuff.
Okay, is that what happened? Or I thought that's what it was before, but rewatching it, I was like, did he just kill these people and make it look like it was that way?
Oh, I thought it was implied that he recreated the games and it exactly played out.
It could be that, because that's the way I took it the first time, but I feel this time I took it more as like he just killed these like random, like maybe people that were criminals. I can't remember, but he killed these people, made it look like they were like from this. I don't know. It was strange.
Let's see. Yeah, I just have, how did he know Ryan would get his leg trapped in the silo? The Mitch motorcycle vortex. Again, my favorite thing is the shotgun trap.
It's so good.
It's so simple. It's such a good.
The best ones are.
You see Jigsaw. The whole like, is Jigsaw somehow alive is hilarious.
It is. Well, and
that's I think the big disappointment with this movie is like, well, he's not. And you like want it to be true so badly, and the fact that he's not is like, oh, it's kind of a letdown twist almost.
When I watched it for the first time, I was like, are they actually doing this? Like, are they bringing him back?
I remember that part of seeing this together. Like, oh no way,
he's back. He's back, baby.
He's still alive somehow.
I do think it. I still think it's funny from the angle that they're still finding ways to bring this man back, though.
Yeah,
just for no reason, but. It is funny. But yeah, that shotgun trap, the key is in here, whatever he says.
The key to your survival. This is the key to your survival, whatever he's got the bullet.
The man is such a just jerk.
He loves his double entendres.
He does.
But and then it shoots back at the lady. I forgot the lady was the one who took the shot.
Mm-hmm.
She framed her husband, right?
She killed their baby. Yeah. And then, I like the bit where like you think that the guy just like rolled over on the baby. That's like terrifying.
Yeah.
That's a terrifying just idea. But it turns out that's not actually what happened. But yeah. And then the other guy who like I said, I'd argue, unless I'm forgetting something, I'd argue he didn't do anything nearly as bad as the others. It's left to die in there.
Yeah.
Like maybe has the
and
worst
tried
fate.
to like talk her out of it.
Yeah. Maybe has the worst fate of them all.
So the reveal is that the one mortician is the new Jigsaw guy, and his assistant is the Jigsaw fanatic, but she's not in on it.
Yeah.
And he was the bucket head that didn't wake up, so Jigsaw felt bad.
Which honestly, I think that whole aspect of it is pretty well done.
Yeah,
like I
because
like,
you do see like the scars on his back and
but
stuff.
you think
too.
it's torture from his military time.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. I had remembered. I thought it was like this was a game that like Jigsaw still had wanted to carry out, and that's why I thought it was like still really. But it is just like a copycat killer kind of thing because it's also ultimately just him getting revenge, making it look like one of Jigsaw's old games.
Well, he also wants the confession of that one guy that he's a bad cop.
Yeah,
essentially.
Yeah,
it's like Spiral.
Yeah. It's a better twist than Spiral.
It is a way better twist than Spiral because Spiral was seen.
We
saw that coming from a mile away, and I think a lot of Saw fans did.
I do like the Jigsaw kind of fanatic, like the replications of the traps. I think that's kind of fun, and then that sets up the big spiral trap thing.
Yeah.
Like this is one he apparently never used, plans that he never used.
But rewatching it, it's very clear that there's no way these things could have happened concurrently.
No. Doesn't make any
I'm like,
sense.
I don't know how I didn't catch that the first time. For the sake of time, we better jump to the ending here with the laser necklace is what I called it.
Yeah, which is set up with earlier they use them in the morgue.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, they're using it to like cut open one of the victims or something, and yeah.
Yeah, nice, good cadavers in this one. But yeah, the whole like confession thing, like make your confession or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, and they make it look like the guy, which like especially on I may have even noticed it the first time I saw it. Like he doesn't he bleeds out of his neck, but they're clearly lasers. Like his head's fine. So, but
the shot where he like looks up. And it's smoking, and he looks over, and it's not.
So good.
That's a good shot.
This movie is shot pretty well.
It is.
I should have mentioned that. It kind of gives J.J. Abrams vibes at times, but it's like it is probably the most well shot Saw movie. It is also not edited by Kevin Grutert, but it kind of stands out in that way.
It's better than I remember it being, and I think it's a worthwhile watch.
It is.
I like it more than Spiral.
It's a good standalone one. Like if you, for some reason, can't get into the old ones, you could probably just throw this one on and kind of understand what's happening. But yeah, I think it's fine. We left it. It's a good thing we left it for the end because there's not a ton to say about it.
No, there's not. It was fun to be like, how is Jigsaw still alive?
Yeah, that is the most fun part.
Should we just save our ratings for next week here? As some of our devices are already beginning to power down.
Yeah, we can.
Or do we just rattle them off now and talk about it?
No, we'll just do it next week when SAW X comes out.
Next week when SAW X comes out. Sorry for the tease, but we are literally, things are powering off as we speak. So that's what you get when you do a SAW retrospective. We
talk about it for a long time.
We do. Good thing everything else was short. So there we go. That's our SAW 5 through Jigsaw retrospective. Again, check out Spiral review back in our audio-only catalog from a couple years ago, which you can find on any major podcast platform. Yeah, it was our 100th episode.
Nice.
So there we go. We're going to have to skip What Are You Doing? We'll have to save that for next week, I think, as well.
That's fine, yeah.
But we cannot wait for this next movie.
We're very
One
excited.
of the more highly anticipated movies in this podcast history. Ladies and gentlemen, SAW X.
It's just a few days.
Next week, buckle up. We'll, of course, do Ahsoka.
Bring back TOMP Eyes, too.
TOMP Eyes, Ahsoka Episode 7. And ladies and gentlemen, until then, game over. Game over.
It's a safe house. Safe house. Safe house. You get it?
Gibson, this was sent here addressed to Jill. Hoffman knows our location.
God damn it.